Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the EA Creator Series WRC Club. And it's fantastic to be back. It's been a few weeks off for me, and we find ourselves in Croatia, Zagreb, just north of Zagreb, actually, the Roman city of Zagreb. And it's going to be fantastic to be rallying here in Central Europe. I'm Gareth Allen. Alongside me tonight is John Harris, i.e., Eyes Amusing. How the hell are we doing?
Absolutely fantastic. It's going to be a wonderful rally, a very technical rally with possibly a few off tracks, but we shall see. There's going to be a lot of action, that's for sure.
Yeah, our second tarmac rally. Of course, we had Monte Carlo a few weeks ago. No snowy conditions today, so there won't be any slipping off of the track. There may be some understeering off the track still. We certainly expect some people in trees. Certainly, it's quite a tight technical course. Lots of hairpins, lots of areas where things can go wrong. The junior RC, WRC cars as well today, which aren't often driven with. Do you think that's going to be a fun combination to drive?
Croatia is a rally where there's a lot of low grip areas, especially with all of the tree lines, a lot of leaves on the ground. And seeing as it's a rally run normally at the start of the year, it's normally round three or round four. I think it's round four this year of the WRC Championship. There can be a lot of wet weather, a lot of damp weather, and the roads are naturally formed with a curve to them so that the water drains away very well. But as you know, for racing, if you've got positive camber, it's very good. If you slide off to the exit and get the negative camber, you could be in a big amount of trouble.
Yeah, this is all stuff that I would have loved to have known yesterday, because me and actually producer Rob, we always try and to preview the rally and give it a go, and we didn't have a fantastic time of it, I must say. Spent a lot of time off having a laugh, talking about things which weren't particularly rally, but yeah, very interesting. So does that mean that there's different kind of lines through corners that you would maybe necessarily expect because of that cambering?
Well, every single corner seems to be a bit different. You have ones that are very negative or positively cambered, and then other ones where it's quite flat on top of a hill. You've got a lot of hairpins as well, so the braking and turn-in trail braking is very, very important here. And also the car itself, the Rally 3 Fiesta, is a very grippy car. It's used in the Junior WRC Championship. It has a low brake horsepower, 280 brake horsepower, if I remember correctly, but it's got 90% of the grip of a Rally 2 car, so you can really send it through the corners at your own risk.
Yep. So we do have cars about to actually start. We can probably head over to Punju. Between stage one and stage two, we'll bring you the creator standings, but it is Punju who's
Starts
leading
right
those
left,
standings.
easy.
Eyes
Good
amusing
luck.
in hot pursuit. You'll be doing yours slightly later on, won't you? But
Certainly will.
here we are, Punju, prepared in the bottom left-hand corner. Starting this one off, what kind of mentality is going to be going through here? What do you want to set yourself out for stage one?
Well, I mean, as you can see, it's an uphill stage for the start here, so you really want to start attacking.
Five,
The uphill
four,
sections of this, where the
three,
braking's not too
two,
challenging, you really want to get a good
go.
pace right from the start, build
Slight
that
left,
confidence,
extra
and
long,
then as soon as you
80.
settle into a rhythm, you really want to be starting to be a bit cautious. You want to just build yourself in, not get damage, because as you can see, there's a lot of trees, signposts, and various things to hit.
Slowing, six right,
Yeah.
tightens
So we
abreast,
have
60, late,
Patterson
square
looking at
left,
RaceNet on
long.
the right-hand side, so he's already looking just
1
to
right,
get a bit of an edge
tightens,
straight away. But that's on Formula One, so
70.
a completely different game. But yeah, I thought he was trying to get an edge on WRC, but I think Patterson, yeah, he's lost
Slight
the plot. As
left,
Punju, straight away
slight
off the
right,
track there, riding the
250.
banking like it's Ari Leindijk at Zandvoort. Yeah, it's not an ideal line for that corner.
Well, just using a bit of
Late,
the
flat,
NASCAR lines, you know, you got a bit of the
cut,
cars
6
lines as
right,
well. You just
to
got to
slight
use the
left
banking to
abreast,
turn in.
70.
The racing lines are very important, so
Crest,
studying F1
opens into
stuff might
5
actually
right,
help you here.
30.
I noticed some of the
Right left
setups that were
short,
being
80.
tossed around were a bit
2 right
sort of a
short,
Formula One
30.
style, with a lot of emphasis on the trail
Late,
braking,
2 left,
which is
keep
not
in.
something that every driver
5
can
right,
do.
80.
Punju obviously very good at the Formula One games, so he will be
2
a
left,
natural at it.
half
But
long.
some of the rally drivers,
40,
especially the
medium, 2
experts at
right.
gravel, struggle a lot
To
to
6
master
right,
that technique.
long, 200.
That's very interesting. Ooh, Punju, there we are, wall riding as well, a bit like Lightning McQueen too.
Slight
That's
right,
very interesting. So
100.
is it something that, in a, a Formula One in a track sense, transferring it to tarmac not too difficult, but on the gravel, it's not a often used technique, that trail braking.
Well, it's of limited use because the grip you have on gravel is very low as a basis. So as soon as you start hitting the brakes, you will normally lock a brake or two anyway. And so what you do, you use other techniques like Scandinavian flick and just weight transfer in general to get the car sliding. Use the handbrake to get it rotated into the corners. All techniques that are very, very bad for tarmac unless you're in a very old school style car, maybe Group A or earlier. But for these modern cars, yeah, you want to be as smooth as possible. One difference with Formula One, though, however, is you cannot use 100% of the track here. There are very slippy parts, often loose gravel on the inside and outside of the corner. So as soon as Funju nearly touches the white line there, I was just about to say, as soon as you touch that white line, you are running out of grip, basically.
Yeah, very interesting. But yeah, Punju for the first two sectors here has been steady. A few little mistakes out the gate, so he's just got to calm his nerves, get into his rhythm. So important for our drivers to get in the rhythm out there. And we are going to have pure Punju today because he's not actually side by side with him. Because actually John was meant to be side by side with him. But I stole you for the broadcast with 2 hours to go, which we're very appreciative for. He did a great job last week. But Dirk Chocolate out there just getting away at the moment. And he is, in ultra wide at the moment. We'll get a bit of a closer zoom in later on of him. But Dirk Chocolate, a different setup. He said he wanted to look down on everyone in his chat from with his camera angle. That's why he's changed it around. He didn't actually properly say that, but very interesting. Dirk was really buoyant about his chances here. He said it was somewhere he felt he could do well about.
Yeah, obviously, if you've got that smooth driving style like a circuit racer, you will do very well. It can be often very disconcerting for circuit racers to have to drift the car on gravel events or on very slippy events like Monte Carlo where you have to actually use the handbrake. So this is more a sort of smooth style rally where you can just turn the car in normally, look towards the center of your screen and just spot the apex like you do in Formula One. That widescreen will help him though because there are some of these hairpins that are very, very tight corners, often blind apexes and stuff like that. So you can use that ultra-wide monitor to just spot the apex maybe a tenth or two earlier and make micro corrections and other stuff like that. So it will be an advantage.
Yeah, interesting. Dirk Chocolate on the right using the widescreen. Punju with a beautiful triple monitor setup. I don't know if you've seen it before, but it's absolutely lovely. What's your kind of preference between the two of those? What do you think is better for maybe rallying?
Well, actually, ironically enough, I've never had the chance to use a triple monitor setup. But using my ultra-wide screen, it really does help, especially on gravel events, ironically. Because you're using the weight transfer, you're rotating the car a lot, almost drifting essentially. So you want to be able to spot that apex, or if you make a small mistake, even in the tarmac rallies, actually, if you make a small mistake and you start drifting, you want to still be able to see the road to see how much correction you need to do, if you need to start braking, etc., etc. As Dirk Chocolate nearly went and hit the barrier there on the outside. It's so difficult to get the braking right into these hairpins.
Yeah, I mean, that was an uphill section, so maybe felt about like it could be a bit more braver on the brakes, but yeah, really over-egged it, and now back out there then. Is that just getting a bit too wide on entry there?
Yes, as soon as you get to that white line, you're going over leaves and gravel and other sort of like a dusty debris on the outside of the corner especially. So the usable surface of the road is maybe 70-80%. And after that, you're in trouble, especially if there's no barrier on the outside.
Yeah, so interesting. I mean, just to finish off our talk of different monitors, VR coming soon to the game. Is that something you're going to be dipping your toes into?
I love VR, I will be honest. However, I won't be using it because it does have a tendency to not agree with me, if you see what I mean. But I absolutely love the concept, and I do appreciate the drivers that can drive in VR or use VR for extended periods of time. I've seen many streamers use, or YouTubers use VR on Dirt Rally 2 and other video games. It would be interesting to see if they actually allow VR for esports events, because I know it's been a request in the past. Dirk Chocolate has gone off the stage, big crash there, a barrel roll right from the from stage 1 here.
Yeah,
23 seconds
3
reset,
left,
that's not
half
going to
long,
help him at all.
70.
But once again, it's a long rally and you can
4
just
left,
recover from that. And
long,
it's sometimes, as
120.
I said last week, sometimes it's better to get one mistake in and then you just push from there on. You know
4
the
left short,
level of grip
60.
and you can
5
just
left
keep going
short,
after that.
into 6 right,
yeah, fastest
long,
time around
90.
here so far in the club prior to Bungie
Crest,
going was a
4 right, tightens, don't
6:47.289.
cut,
That
into
was by
5 left, opens long,
Lulianka.
120.
Is that your name? Apologies if I've absolutely butchered it, but he's been setting some pretty blistering times across most of the stages actually. Yeah, he's going well out there. But yeah, that 23-second penalty, it is early doors. You can recover from it, but what do you do when you go off? Is it easier to make another mistake, or is it something that you can kind of put to bed?
Oh, it depends on the driver. It's one of the most difficult techniques to master, both in Formula 1. Oh, punches off! Big roll there as well, as we can see there on screen. A lucky recovery, though. Straight away, on the wheels, let's go. Almost like a Colin McRae fashion. Just select first gear, dump the clutch, and away you go. A bit like he did in the X Games in 2007.
Okay.
Or was it 2006?
His reaction to the bottom left-hand corner was like, "Yeah, well, I was trying to do that. It's fine." Just right at the end of the stage, though, it would have cost him maybe 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Quite a lucky crash to have, really.
Yeah, it almost goes in slow motion when you have a crash like that. You really want to. Oh, dark chocolate's off the road as well. My God, everything happening here. So it's a very difficult thing to sort of recover from. But he did very, very well to just keep his cool, keep his calm, and the experience of rally showing through there. Yeah, it's not the first time, sadly, he's had an incident like that, but the experience hardens you to that type of recovery drive that you need to have.
Yeah, so Dirk now out there heading towards the final part of this stage, it's not too windy, this section of the rally really. There's obviously lots of turns, but there's not many hairpin turns like the other half of this stage that we were running, which is absolutely chock-a-block with them. It's non-stop hairpins during the upper section. So it's easy to get your flow in, but what I found when actually rallying this, because I did race it a little bit yesterday, was it was
Dark Viper off the road.
a nice flow.
As well. Excuse me to interrupt.
Sorry, who went off the road? Sorry.
Dark Viper off the
Oh.
road there as well. Good recovery though, just kept it pinned to the floor on the throttle and just went back up the hill.
Yeah, well, we're actually Dark Viper is making his debut in the EA Sports Creator Series WRC Club today. That's an absolute mouthful, that is. And yeah, looking to put in some decent times. These, I think, comes from the world of F1 streaming. Certainly, that was his last few streams. That's my research on you, Dark Viper. I'll be very honest. I know very little about you, but I'm very excited to have you here as part of the creators, as Patterson is facing the wrong way there, trying to get going. But
Got a
doing the
puncture
honourable
as well.
thing.
I just noticed, got a puncture. I saw the yellow triangle appear, which means that I think it's a left. Yeah, it's a left rear puncture. Spinning around there, that is disastrous. And barely halfway into the stage, I think that's going to be a puncture repair, which is 1 minute and 30 seconds. Or he can soldier on. It's going to be difficult though. The left, this car is set up for a bit of oversteer. So if you puncture that left rear turn, oh, it's going from bad to worse.
He needs to fix
Really.
it. And
I think it might
He's
need.
done
Yeah,
it.
there we go.
There we are.
Left rear.
I think
Unfortunate.
it's just difficult. I mean, I think if they're on the rear, you kind of have to fix them, right? Because it's so easy just to spin out going into the corners, and it's such an unstable car that you're just going to cause way more damage. If it's on the front, you can kind of suffer through it and not take that 90-second penalty. It's right on the limit of whether you can take it, certainly on some of the bigger stages, the King stages. But yeah, Patterson's already had a few incidents just because of that, and that's all going to clock up over the rally.
And with damage as well. I think it exacerbates the effects of the damage being on tarmac, actually. On gravel and on snow, you can still get a little bit of grip and carry on, even though sometimes it's better to stop anyway, because you just start spinning out like we saw there. Yeah, on tarmac, you really just don't want to get a puncture at all. As Patterson spins out again, maybe some damage, actually, on the rear of the car. I did not see the impacts that caused that puncture, but yeah, any type of impact or damage, you're going to feel it twice as much on tarmac as you will on gravel.
Yeah, Dark Chocolate set a 8-minute 4, I believe, in the top right-hand corner. Dark Viper is absolutely motoring along, going through this final sector really, really quick. I don't know if that's just his point of view on bonnet cam that makes it super quick, but going through this corner where Punji made that mistake and rolled it, he just managed to use the outside to more of a benefit to him. But we have the stop point control and the flying finish on the right-hand side here, and that's a 7:21, and that's a very competitive time. That's very near Punji's.
Very, very good time, yes. It looked like he was flying through there, so a few mistakes, but obviously testing the limits, pushing the car a little bit, and you will make mistakes doing that, but in the long run, it can be better.
Yep. So I'm thinking maybe we can pull Punju in for a bit of an interview to kick this one off, and talk through his stage. And Punju, welcome to the broadcast. We saw you have a little bit of a moment through the final sector there, upside down your roof, but you seem to roll off quite gracefully. How did that first stage go for you?
That was nothing but a flesh wound. It's really no worries. It was it was good. It was good. It was good fun. Definitely a fun rally. It's weird because like you don't want to go too hard, but you also know if you go super slow, like you lose tons of time. So CROATIA is just gonna be difficult the whole way through, I think. And but overall, I think I did a good job managing it. I think I did a good job.
Yeah, I just realised I've pulled you in when you're about to say kick off for the next stage, so I'll let you get on with that. But yeah,
Nice.
we just basically John was saying put him off his game, get him in here.
Oh, the subterfuge!
Use all the
I love
tactics.
it.
Yeah,
I love it. I love
You were
it.
meant to
We'll
keep
let
that secret.
Yeah, we'll let you crack on with it. Yeah, me not following the run book there. Very professional commentary from myself. But yeah, we have Patterson and Only Vic on the final parts of the last stage, and Punju just going to kick off stage 2 here. And how's your pronunciation of creation? Is it good? Are you good? Oh, Patterson off the track again.
I hope
You're
that's
carrying
not a
damage.
second puncture. I think it's okay, but that was a heavy hit. There will be damage from that. Luckily, it was a side impact. Maybe the car's pretty strong for side impact, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem, but hopefully not suspension damage or anything. As far as my pronunciation of Croatian stuff, I would avoid doing any type of that.
Okay, so it's just me going to be butchering it. This is Kumovek, apparently, this second stage. But the
I'll
first
take your
stage
word
that
for it.
Patterson is on is starting with a G, and then the next letter's an R, so I'm not even going to attempt that one. Gudanchi, maybe? Yeah, I did attempt it. And
That's how I pronounce it, yes.
yeah, basically, the same way I just butchered saying it is what Patterson's doing on this stage and really butchering this 12 kilometers. Sorry, Patterson. I felt awfully mean saying that as it came out. But yeah, he's coming to this very difficult corner
Checking
that we've
for
seen our
damage, I
creators
think.
struggle. But yeah, he's a bit of damage. It doesn't look too bad. I've driven worse cars on WRC, I must say.
I wonder actually if he is struggling to see over the crest. So we've had this problem in Mexico, but it's a very slow rally, Mexico. So even though you can't see over the crest, you can just react to it. But in a very fast tarmac rally, you actually need to see a lot more over the crest. So maybe he's changed view to get more of an
Yeah.
understanding of the car or of the racing lines.
Was it sector?
Yeah, it's obviously chase cam. Not always ideal when you're on a wheel. It's kind of there's a bit of a disconnect there, isn't there? Some people, really like it for drifting, etc. But it's maybe not the purest way to dark drive. But quite fast down the stands there. I think we'd had about 350 people start the first
Dark Chocolate,
stage.
big crash on stage 2, unfortunately. That might be a ton of damage. Resets track, 30-second penalty. Just, there's a very, very tight corner. It's, I think, a 1 left is the pace note, and it really is a 1 left. You have to brake down to almost first gear, and it's an off-camber corner as well. Very easy to get caught out by that one. And there's a signpost on the outside as well for good measure, and trees after that. So it's just the worst corner in the game, I think, in terms of catching you off guard. And then sadly, Punju as well on the grass. Punju's off as well into the trees, just caught it and back on track now, but everything kicking off right now. Dark Chocolate's gone off in the exact same corner I'm seeing on the footage here. Incredible stuff. It must be the braking zone into there. Very difficult on the brakes sometimes. If you lock the brakes on tarmac, like any racing game, it's game over for that corner. Punju's again making big mistakes here, not braking enough, I think. The danger of this car, as I was saying before, is taking too much speed into the corners. The car gives you the impression that you have infinite grip. It is so grippy on turn-in, and then you get some mid-corner understeer, and it can be so deceiving in general. Dark Chocolate off at the exact same corner as Punju was as well. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
The mirrored sort of mistakes.
Yeah, driving a bit like how me and producer Rob were yesterday, actually. It gives me a lot of confidence that I'm not the only person making these mistakes, actually. Because I felt like a complete novice. Hadn't done any kind of racing or anything for the last 2 weeks. As Chocolate just all over the place, just really struggling out there. This is surprising. It's like there's ice on the road. Obviously there isn't, but just getting on the wrong parts of the road and just putting themselves off. I mean, I think Dirk had an 8-second penalty from a reset, which, all things said, it's not too bad. Do you know what the mystical algorithm of the reset penalties? Because I can never seem to guess it. Sometimes I think, oh, I'll just take a quick reset. It's 30 seconds, and I'm fuming that I took a quick reset.
Well, for me, as far as I mean, I've never got a reset penalty. Obviously, I never make mistakes.
No.
No, never.
Don't watch
But
last week's pod.
if I were to make a mistake, let's talk hypothetical. If I were to make a mistake, it's to do with the speed and how far you go off the road, basically. And it's a multiplication of that. If you go off the road at high speed or to the maximum distance before it resets you, you will get 30 seconds more often than not. If it's just by the side of the road, it'll be a 5-second reset.
So,
Sanderson off
like
as well.
All auto resets are 30 seconds, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes, they should be.
Yes, it's having to take over for you. So we also have Adam Sanderson, of course, the face of Devon Butler, joining us for the first time. And we've got two of his faces, absolutely brilliant. If you don't realise that's Devon Butler by now, you will never realise it's Devon Butler. But he's certainly a rookie, and he said trees or trophies before in the cooldown room, and he's absolutely split his windshield there. That is certainly one for the insurance.
That is radiator damage as well, so I think there's one extra stage now until the service area, but that will not be good with all of that damage. That was basically a flat-out impact there to the car. The windscreen's shattered, everything will not be... The door looks like it's hanging on by a thread. Yeah, not the ideal start to the rally for anybody, that's for sure.
A lot of bumps and scrapes out there. Actually, the only person who I really think has Punju, there we are, another big moment. Top right-hand corner, he's having a little bit of a wobble. Dark Chocolate riding the rules like it's Forza Horizon. And the only person who's really put it together, I feel, so far is Dark Viper GT. He's looking super clued in here.
I think Dark Chocolate might have a puncture front left. The car is handling very bizarrely here. I have a small theory of what might be happening to our drivers in general here.
It's skill issue. Is it that?
I'm not quite sure. Dark Viper off as well on one of the hairpins. It's just mistake after mistake. And here is my theory. I may be wrong in this, but I have strong suspicions that here's what's happening. A bit like in the Formula 1 games, if you push the tyres too much at the start of your stints, they will start to overheat, or you'll get uneven tyre wear, especially on the rear tyres if you light up the tyres in the slow corners. On tarmac rallies in this game, it is well known that you get the sensation of the rear tyres overheating, or the front tyres if you get a lot of understeer in front-wheel drive cars. And I think that it's getting more and more difficult as the tyres wear down and as the car starts to overheat those tyres. Catching the car, especially on this slippery tarmac, might be a bit too much for the ambitious speeds they're taking into the corners.
Yeah, Adam Sanderson down a ditch, getting back onto the road. No reset to track. You like to see that. You know, getting back on it. I mean, obviously, in the F1 Creator Series, it's completely banned resetting to track. It has to be a rejoin, and it has to completely disrupt the race, as we saw over the weekend. Yeah, getting back on track, it's not going ideal, but yeah, very interesting. So just maybe the sensation of overheating the tires is damaging it. The tire sets available, by default, it's one medium and one soft set of tires. Of course, a shakedown will give you an extra set in what you're going with. Is it better to err on the side of caution and take those more durable cars? As that is a big collision with a wood pile.
I am noticing the mistakes are always happening into these hairpins with lockups on the brakes, basically. That is all, every single time it's to do with the brakes. It seems. And
Yeah.
I think in terms of tires, to answer your question, it depends on your driving style, really. If you're a very aggressive driver, you might want to go for the harder compound tires to try and help them not overheat too much. You will definitely feel the overheating tires on the downhill section, which is the exact section at the end of this stage, basically.
Yeah, and indeed. So, yeah, interesting. I think Dark Viper. I think he's. Yeah, he really just seemed dialed in, but a few mistakes towards the end of that stage would have cost him a few seconds here, a few seconds there. 7:49 he has put on the board, and for reference, the quickest time around here is a 6:35. So he's over a minute off of that time. It's a 12.9 kilometer stage we've just completed, and lower than our producer Rob, 2 places behind him. He's just got so excited there behind, and hands on his head there. He's a bit unhappy with that. I said he was doing well, but if he's slower than producer Rob, then
I,
not
I
maybe
think
doing as well as we do.
I think some of the drivers, judging by their reactions at the end of the stage, they might have maybe underestimated the car for this one. Although it's
Mm.
a very low-powered car, it can sometimes be very lightweight, sort of twitchy on turn-in and stuff like that. So maybe a few drivers maybe underprepared or underestimating the first couple of uh,
Pe-
stages.
the driver's underestimating the car, like people underestimate my Renault Scenic, which is absolute power horse at getting to the shops and about nothing else. But yeah, interesting. I mean, it is the junior car, but it is it is a handful to drive, isn't it? So do you think that's a bit of kind of arrogance from our creators coming in and thinking, well, it's a slower car this week, it'll be easier to just drive than and throw around, but actually still quite challenging. You're saying?
Well, four-wheel drive can be both a blessing and a curse for drivers because the four-wheel drive system allows you to take a lot more speed into corners, get a lot more traction even in wet weather driving or snow or ice, anything really. But it can make tire wear worse. Four-wheel drive cars are actually worse on tire wear. And they can give you a false sense of confidence because although you've got more grip in the corners, the brakes are still exactly the same as on a rear-wheel drive car or front-wheel drive car, so the stopping distance is still the same, except you're carrying more speed through the corners. This is the first junior WRC car to be four-wheel drive, so it's also new for the people that are driving it in real life since 2022. And I can tell you from watching those broadcasts of the real WRC that drivers had a lot of problems adapting to the new car because most of the drivers that drive this car, it will be their first experience of four-wheel drive. So they're having to adapt their
Right.
driving technique, they're having to adapt to the speed of the car, the tire wear, the setup, everything. A four-wheel drive car is also heavier than a rear-wheel drive car, a front-wheel drive car with all of that drive trains and differentials that are added on the underside of the car. So there's a lot to change for sure.
Yeah, Patterson out there on stage 2. I'm going to quickly grab Dirk Chocolate in and ask him how his day is going. Dirk Chocolate, we didn't catch too much of you for that second stage, but we did notice you were off a few times for the first stage, certainly. Um, how's it going there so far? You were quite buoyant about your chances beforehand. Are you still feeling buoyant?
I was until I did my shakedown on a wet tire, and then
Oh no! Oh no! Okay,
and then
carry on.
whilst moaning about the wet tire, I forgot to change the tire for the start of the stage,
Oh
which was
no.
the longest. And now I'm doing the stage on a wet tire. They died on the first stage, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Tire overheating on tarmac in this game is notorious. So doing it on the softest compound in the game that's for wet weather is not, well, unfortunate for you, put it that way.
That is, yeah. I'm sorry to laugh at your misfortune, but that is a almighty gaff.
Oh,
I mean, you've got one stage until the service where you can ditch those, and then luckily you can kind of get back on track. Then take a set of mediums and then softs at the end.
oh yeah,
That's something you can go for. I mean, you've got the longest stage up next, though. It is 25 kilometers next stage.
yeah, yeah.
You
It's
just got to
that.
take it slow. What's your mindset going into that stage?
Don't die. I think that's good. I think that's very good. Honestly, to be fair, once the tires cooled down, I got in a rhythm. I was flying. I was really comfortable. But I really like the stage. Like I really like the stage. So I'm comfortable, but I'm on the wrong tires. I think once I'm on the right tires, I'll be fine. So if we get past this, I'll have a medium set and then a soft set, and it'll be okay. But yeah, the inter slicks are out.
I mean, of course. Ooh, Patterson's just done an
Patterson
almighty
barrel
roll on
roll.
the right of the corner.
Incredible.
That is that's the best roll we've had so far in the
That was
CROATIA series. That was
perfect. 10 out of
textbook.
10.
Fantastic job by him. Yeah, I mean, I'll let you get on with it, but of course, you still have those power points you can get at the end. They're still unaffected by it as long as you can get your car there. So
We'll get
there's
there.
everything to play for here, Dirk.
Yes, sir. I'll make it to the end. Don't worry. Oh, fucking last one. That's the worst thing I could have said. That's the worst I could have said.
It's okay. You've got active aero on the back of your car there with the boot opening, so you'll be fine. Extra downforce.
Exactly. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Dirk. Good luck on your stage. I just couldn't help but laugh when he said he took intermediate tyres and then did change off it. That is a double whammy of.
Well, I
epic
can't laugh at it. I've done it before, sadly, myself. And multiple times as well have I forgotten to change tires and just thought, where did the grip go? That's strange. Yeah, you always know as soon as you start the stage, the first corner is like, oh, this is really good because the tires are the softest compound. And then all of a sudden the grip starts going away and you think, I've made a massive mistake here, haven't I?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But you look, only Vic actually out there straight away. 8:20 is when she was meant to go, but she's just gone for it on the king stage, the queen stage. I don't know, is it the king or queen stage? It's the big stage. It's the one that's very very long. Tracker scan. The Pepsi Max Big Red one at Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
It's not sponsored.
Yeah, no worries. It's a good drink. I like it. So I'm not personally sponsored by it, but it is my Coke of choice to go for. But I mean, this is a big long stage here, and it's right before a service. So any damage that these people are carrying is going to be kind of hurting them, slowing them down. But I mean, these long stages, mindset-wise, do you just take it one sector at a time?
Well, actually, you have to pay attention to the tire overheating. Most of the stages, it will be push for a couple of sectors, cool the tires down, regain your composure, because you'll probably have a moment or two because the tires are overheating, and then just attack a bit more. So it's all about a bit like a Formula 1 stint, really. Just push to the tire compound and see what you can do. If you have to back off, you have to back off. That's part of the game, basically. Very, very difficult, this rally, because of the curves and things that can just catch you off guard. Sometimes on the apex, there will just be a signpost out of nowhere, and you'll just have to do a little bit of avoiding action. I think only Vic's just gone for a spin there. I did not have a chance to have a look at that. But yeah, the mistakes accumulate, that's for sure.
Yeah, we could probably ride on board with Amy Vic in the bottom right-hand corner and watch her attack this one. Of course, had lots of kind things to say about our drivers last week. It's the polar opposite of me, John. I'm so harsh on our drivers. I just enjoy the moments that we had with Patterson doing barrel rolls, certainly. But yeah, very interesting to see Only Vic out here pushing and maybe someone who could get a better result than they've had so far in the series, it being on tarmac and of course coming from that F1 background.
Well, I was about to say, oh no, I've jinxed it without even saying the sentence. I was about
I
to
said it as well,
say the
didn't I?
racing lines are great, but unfortunately, one of those corners that is just a very shallow corner and then it tightens. And sometimes the pace notes, I was going to talk about the pace notes, but this is a good opportunity to talk about them. Sometimes the pace notes do not give enough details for these corners. So you can have like a left 5, which is a very open corner, like I think that one was, and then tightens into 2, but sometimes the pace note won't have enough time to tell you that information. So you go straight into the corner at top speed, trail braking, and then all of a sudden you need to go down 3 gears, and the tires and brakes just say, yeah, I don't think so. That's not going to happen. And all of a sudden you're off the road into the trees. So pace notes are very, very important here. And you've got to have that sort of trust in the pace notes, which sometimes doesn't happen. A lot of mistakes there. I think we've just hit some sort of bollard or something. Yes, we have on the side of the road for Only Vic. That's a shame. Radiator damage as well, as I can see there. Yeah, just so many obstacles, and they do not budge, that's for sure.
Yeah, really struggling to get back on the track here. I mean, the racing surface is sometimes down a bit of a gully, so if you don't take that route to track, you do the honourable thing and try and drive back on it. It's sometimes so difficult to get up the hill. We saw Only Vic struggling. I'm sure she won't be the only one struggling today.
Dirt's off as well, as you said that, yeah.
Having big
Incredible.
moments. It's because of those wet tyres that he's on, and you know, it's in fairness probably a hideous car to drive right now. The fact that he hasn't got radiator damage, engine damage at the moment is probably props to how well he's been driving and finding the groove on those tyres, which have probably seen better days.
Indeed. I think any tyres that you take at this point will be struggling. It's all to do with the camber as well. You just add all of the factors together: slippery stage, negative camber, worn tyres, probably damaged car as well at this point, and you've got a survival scenario, that's for sure. It's getting up there with Kenya in the Group B at this point.
Dark Viper on the right-hander there got very close to the edge of the road. He had his mouth open as he came through it. Sometimes quite fun to just get through a corner by the you know, very difficultly and survive it. But there we are, going for another corner.
Dark Viper, a huge save, and between the signpost and the tree, incredible Gymkhana stuff here. Massive recovery. I have the widest smile on my face watching that one. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, that's very daring. He kept his foot following him, and I thought, no way, he's going to crash into that sign, and that's going to be big problems for him. But yeah, very nice driving in the end now. He's pushing to the limit here. He's racing to the limit. Is there any chance that you could fall off a cliff and DNF terminally damage the car from that incident like we saw at Monte Carlo?
I mean, I hope we don't find out, but I think there's a few places. If you go full throttle off, like not making an attempt to turn for the corner, but normally you'll get a reset penalty. There are a few places, but that it shouldn't happen. Famous last words, obviously.
Yeah, as Dark Viper, yeah. I mean, if you are, as you're saying, just going full throttle off the track, I think everyone's going to at least attempt a corner. So we shouldn't see that today, which is probably a big release for some of our creators. I really didn't make it that far in Monte Carlo. I think I made it 5 stages. Adam Sanderson riding the walls of this stage, and this is stage 3 at the moment. We have another half a stage to go before we get to our first in rally service, so a lot of the damage can be fixed. I think it's only 30 minutes to first service, so those cars are a little bit worse for wear. They'll have to be picking and choosing where they're going. Dark Viper
off the roads,
missing the track, and just working his way back on. But there is an arm
and stuck
there.
with the barrier. Yeah,
he didn't clock that. He did split it on the left-hand side, but yeah, not fantastic there, but probably losing about 10 seconds overall on the road there.
Sometimes you just have to take that decision to go off the road because you don't want to hit the Armco barrier. That will give you more damage than just sliding off the road and getting a reset penalty. As Aerotech hits a tree as well. Just the same type of mistake all the time, just having the confidence to turn in, and then the car just understeers mid-corner. I see it happen again and again. As Kunju's off the stage as well, same type of mistake, just the same thing happening. And that's the problem with this car. Four-wheel drive really helps you get the turn in, but then you've got to sort of slow the speed down with the trail braking and make sure that the car stays heavy on the front so that you don't understeer too much.
Yeah, Aerotech making his third outing on the stream, on the broadcast, and he's only keeping his competing weeks to when he is on the broadcast. Of course, as soon as you be part of the broadcast, you can compete every week, even if you can't make it, which is the beauty of this club, because it's open to all as well. If you want to participate in the chat, you absolutely can get involved, as Adam Sanderson finds it hard to find the gear.
Has a big problem here with engine. I think a small part of engine damage happening here with that radiator completely devoid of any type of liquid in it. So
is that going to damage the car more over time? Is that
most
into
definitely
the game? Yeah.
You do not want to be driving more than 1 or 2 stages with that light on, especially with the amount of stages we have left. If this was the last stage, I'd say no problem whatsoever. You'll make it to the end. But in the service area, you will want to fix the radiator and the engine and whatever you can after that. Those 2 parts are very crucial, obviously.
Yeah, but I've just put a exclamation mark WRC into the chat, so you can go on there and you can find all the links to our standings, to the RaceNet Club to get involved yourself, and also our Discord to join the conversation and be part of a really fantastic growing community. Adam Sanderson, there we are, taking a reset penalty.
Puncher's got a
That was an
problem here.
auto one, but yeah,
Puncher's got a puncture, I think. He is in 4th gear and barely reaching 80, I don't know if that's miles or kilometers per hour, but he has a puncture. Guaranteed he has some sort of problem or puncture here.
I think that's kilometers per hour. Adam Sanderson. Yeah. Is that
Punju has a problem here.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
There's
Miles
something
per hour,
wrong.
he's in. So that's a little bit better than if it was kilometers. But yeah, he's really.
He's very behind on the stage time. He's about 3 or 4 sectors behind. There's obviously something majorly wrong with the car here.
Are you licking your lips, knowing that you can keep with him in the creator standings?
I want to make it clear to everybody on the broadcast, no foul play has happened here.
I mean, you probably the first week you lost to him head-to-head since you joined the Creator Series standings. I mean, you've been closing that gap little by little. Do you still think it's doable to win outright in the Creator Series? You're 5 in 5th place in the race net standings as well, so you're doing well across both fronts.
I think anything can happen in rally. It's never done until it's mathematically impossible. We've seen so many championships been brought back from the brink. And so there's a level of uncertainty that you don't have in other forms of motorsport. You can be driving the best stages, the best dark fiber off the road again, just locking up the brakes every single time here basically. If you get one wheel on the edge of the road onto that dusty tarmac, you just lock all 4 wheels eventually. But yeah, just the uncertainty of this rally, it can really help in terms of unexpected results. If you look at this rally compared to other tarmac rallies, say Monte Carlo, again just locking up the brakes and missing the braking point, I think just these hairpins, just one after the other, convince you that you can brake later and later if you're braking too early, and at some point you get to the point where you're just pushing a bit too hard, or maybe cooking the tires. But yeah, compared to Monte Carlo and even compared to Central European Rally, which is closer to this rally in terms of geographical location, these stages are nothing like any of the other tarmac rallies. Normally you've got some very twisty, narrow roads but no camber or problems, and you've got roads like in Spain which are quite wide but have a lot of camber, but this combines all of the problematic things with tarmac.
Yeah, I mean, is it very much a case of tortoise in the hare around this particular rally? Do you think someone who maybe isn't that quick, if they just keep it on the track, they're going to be able to scoop a big result here, a big shot win?
Most certainly, yes. It's all about consistency. It has been in real life, actually. I remember in 2021 when Elfyn Evans was leading the rally right until the last stage, and on the last braking zone of the last corner of the last stage, he locked the brakes, went onto the grass, and lost the rally by 0.6 of a second. So anything can happen, including real life. In fact, again in 2022, I think it was, or 23, no, it was 22, where Kalle Rovanperä nearly lost the win of the rally by making a wrong tyre choice, going with the dry tyres when it started raining on a Sunday afternoon, and Oyt Tanak selected the wet tyres and gained, I think it was nearly a full minute on 3 stages, and lost the rally only by 4.3 seconds. So this is a rally that even in real life just throws up unexpected results.
I think they're running there this weekend, or certainly weekend.
This weekend, yes it is, the 18th to the 21st.
The 4th running of that in a WRC configuration at least, so that'll be interesting to see. That one certainly. I look forward to tuning into that one. I missed quite a bit of Kenya just because it was just also
70, slowing, 6 left, 60.
I'm gonna say that.
Slight right, tightens hairpin. 190. Slowing, 4 right short, 60. Late, open hairpin left, tightens. 110. Slowing, slight left, long tightens, into 6 right, 6 left, 50, open hairpin right.
road,
40.
that's going to be 30 seconds, sadly.
6
Still not a
left.
DNF,
Open.
which is much better than
And slight right.
DNF.
Very
I think
low
what might happen
tightens.
is the
Slowing.
roads are
100.
it's not clipped, so you won't DNF so
Unseen.
but
4
it does mean
right.
that
Keep in. Into 4 left. And 2 right short. Into 4 left short. And 6 right. 90.
And stopped by a tree. And he's got a puncture as well.
Momentum.
Hairpin left. 50. 4 left short. 40. 3 right. Into 4 left. Half long tightens. And 3 right. Don't cut. And 3 left. Tightens. 160.
I say
I don't blame you. This is
Open hairpin right. Tightens. 50. 5 left. 40.
might not be the most optimal way to use a reset time, that's for sure. But my
3 right. 50. 6 left short. 200. Slowing. Slight right. Into southern hairpin left. 60. 4 right. Cut.
yeah, we are Rally Croatia. About 6, 8 rounds.
Into slight left, brake, and 6 right, and 4 left, and open hairpin right. 60. 4 left short, don't cut. 60, 2 left short, 40. 3 right, and 6 right, slowing, 40.
No, not really. I love all forms of motorsport. I love just commentating or driving anything, really. So to have Rally Mexico and Group A, I actually quite enjoyed it. Unfortunately, a little bit of a technical problem. We'll call it an engine issue or something like that on a Lancia. Very on brand for the 90s anyway. The feeling was good, the pace was good in the car, and as always, I have so much fun with these events in general.
Yeah, it's fantastic to have you. We've had you on since, I think Rally Sweden was the first time you did it, but Punju cheekily hasn't included that scoring in the creator standings, I've noticed. Trying to keep you behind. Of course, he puts a lot of effort into the background of this, and recently promoted to be part of the EA Content Creator Network, so fantastic. W for him, very much congratulations on that front. Well deserved for how much he's put into this, EA sanctioned event, I would say. Yeah, fascinating stuff we have here in the final few moments of this stage 3. Aerotech pushing onwards. I think it's going to be a decent time on there. He actually set an incredible time the first time round. He installed the game and caught up with all of the drivers back in Rally Sweden. It was an incredible performance.
Legendary stuff.
He can really focus on coming from that drifting background. Probably not the best for the tarmac rallies.
Maybe not, but for this rally it can't be too much of a disadvantage, because for drifting you want to get the car slowed down most of the time. You want to get the weight onto the front and start sliding the car, so actually that technique might be very useful here. What I think a lot of drivers are getting caught out by, especially the Formula 1 drivers, as I think Aerotech's attempting to drive to the end maybe with no spare tyre, or choosing to not replace that spare tyre because the speed looks very low compared to the gear he's in. The Formula 1 drivers might be caught out by the fact that they don't have any front aero. This car only has a rear wing, and the front aero is mandated to be very, very low on these cars. There's a lot of technical regulations around it, so they will tend to have a natural understeery feel. And unlike in the Formula 1 games, where you can just count on the downforce to help you turn in and help you trail brake, with these cars you have to be a little bit more cautious, and that might be affecting a few drivers. But for Aerotech, probably more of an advantage compared to the others.
Yeah, I'm going to actually pull in Aerotech for a little cheeky interview, because he has just stopped the stage, and how are you finding out there? That seems like a decent time through stage 3. You have the service now, you're carrying much damage. How have you found the first 3 stages?
First 2 stages went great. I didn't really expect to beat Punju on tar. I'm not good at tarmac. I usually end up getting confident and overdriving. And that's exactly what happened in stage 3. If you could see all the pieces of my car that aren't there. I thought I was closer to the finish. I had a puncture on the right front and went, well, I think I could just keep going, and ended up going off 2 more times. So bad call from me. We're going to get it fixed up and then see what I can do. I'd rather mess up early on in the rally. Try and fight back if we can.
I mean, you come from that drifting background. Actually, John was saying that it's not too much of a transference because I was saying maybe it would be difficult for you, but John was saying you have to carry cars at slow speeds for drifting anyway. How are you finding it, truthfully?
Moving the car with the brake helps a lot. In drifting, you want it like where your weight is really important when you're transitioning from corner to corner. So on tarmac here, I thought that was like I wasn't doing it at first, and I realized the car was understeering in the middle of the corner. I was like, I'll try trail braking, and then all of a sudden, I got way more rotation in the middle. Other than that, like it's a smaller wheelbase, it's all-wheel drive, so when it goes sideways, no pun intended, there is like counter steering and stuff that I know. But other than that, this is a new discipline for me. Lots of drifters find their way to like rallycross and stuff, so it's not crazy, but not me.
So the inconsistent grip levels catching you out, basically.
Yeah, I don't know if it was me overdriving or the tire wearing. I don't know what happened in stage 3 there, but I'm going to take that as a warning and try and calm down a little bit so I don't do that again, and see if I can't give Punju a run for his money.
You've finished on the podium on both the events you've done, including on the power stages. Do you feel the podium is on the cards again for today's event?
It depends on whether I chill out here or not. Like I think I can do it. I've done it before. Not to say there's not some good competition here today, but definitely something if I can just nurse this car to the next service, get her back 100%, and take advantage of other people making mistakes. I feel like I'm not the only one getting a little overconfident out there.
Yeah,
For sure.
you're certainly not. But yeah, fantastic to have you. Good luck with the rest of your stages, and good luck with fixing that car up. We'll also go over to Adam Sanderson, who's joining the WRC broadcast for the first time. How are you doing? How are you finding it out there? We've seen you have a few offs, and your car's certainly reflecting on that. Do you know how damage works on this game? Do you know how to fix it? Have you gone through all that stuff?
I've done the recommended fixes, but my car still looks
that's a
like
rookie
it's been
mistake.
exploded.
Still driving half a car, no worries.
Yeah, I must admit, I've had, like you said, I've had a few offs, but nothing that a bit of elbow grease can't work out. Yeah, I mean, it's been fun. I've had some good times, and some of the calls, I must say, my co-drivers let me down massively here. Didn't tell us when there's some hairpins coming along. It's gone straight on, but I just blame the co-driver. Nothing on me.
Classic rally driver, I like it. Good stuff.
Have you changed your tyres? That's the most important thing.
I think so. Hang on.
Did you do the shakedown?
I did a shakedown, yeah. So I should have an extra set of mediums. Yeah, I've put on my softs.
Oh, you're going for the softs here. That's an interesting strategy.
Okay, I've put on the mediums.
Producer Rob is whispering in his ear, telling him to put on the mediums.
Why should I put on the mediums, not the softs?
Yeah, the last.
Oh my
stage,
god, that's so true. Yes,
the last
correct.
stage gives extra points, so you can save softs for them, and then it's not. You don't have a stage as long as you just had throughout the rest of the rally, so you should be able to get to the end of on a pair of mediums. But
So
that's just my advice, and I did terribly. So
okay, cool. Thank you. It's not any evidence that you gave me assistance or anything. No.
It's fine. We like to help people out here, don't we? And I equally laugh at them when they put a pair of intermediate tires on, such as Dirt Chocolate. So
is that what you did?
Yeah, on the shakedown. So he got an extra set of intermediates, which are useless.
Nice.
Then he accidentally selected it for the race for the first 3 stages as well. So
good stuff.
Good stuff. Not great. We'll be talking about that one for a while, certainly. But I'll tell you what, I'll let you get on with it because you're now scheduled to run through the next 3 stages. Good luck out there. So we do have the 4th stage coming up, and we already have Punju and Dirt Chocolate well on the field.
Yeah, Punju really driving well this time. I hope I don't jinx him once again, but yeah, it looks like he's gained back the confidence that he had. Certainly sending it into the corners. This is a lot more like what I'm used to seeing from him, that's for sure.
Yeah, we do have Patson as well. We're going to get Patson quickly. How are you doing out there? How did you find the first 3 stages?
Oh,
We saw a puncture out there at one stage. It wasn't looking
honestly,
brilliant for you.
about 2 minutes in, stage 1 puncture. What can I do? I tried to drag it out so I didn't get the 90-second penalty, but the car became completely undrivable. So we pulled over, we whipped the spare out of the boot, we bolted it on, and we got going again. But yeah, I've not had the best stages
I mean,
so far.
we do have a clip here that Hoodie Pete has kindly put in of something going a bit wrong for you towards the end of one of these stages. I'm guessing it's a bit wrong by the tone. It could be brilliant. I've not actually watched this through
Oh, okay.
back to back yet, so we're coming through the
Impressive
end of
it was.
stage 2. Is this? And
I think it was end of stage 2, just driving casually, everything under control until it isn't, and then a barrier.
Oh, we did see this. We did see
10
this.
out of 10. Honestly, I will say that's an absolute 10 out of 10.
What can I say? Hey,
That was unbelievable. That was the best
All
roll
skill.
we've
All
seen.
skill, no luck.
Do you know what I mean? That was quality over quantity. You know,
Yeah.
I have a 21 roller. You have a 2 rollers, but perfect and
Oh, yeah.
landing and carrying on. You lost maybe half a tenth, but all worth it. Extra style points.
That was it.
Are you going to
as
try
we
and
went-
attempt that again?
I'm gonna try. I did actually nearly do it again just then towards the finish of that stage, but luckily I didn't. I just clipped the barrier this time, so we're safe.
Yeah, well, fantastic. We'll let you crack on with it anyway because you are due to depart soon. But
No worries.
yeah, good luck and have fun barrel rolling out there. Punju's struggling again. Something's very up, isn't it? Something is very up. He looks forlorn.
Yeah, he looks a bit dejected, and I don't know what's going wrong. Is it a technical issue on his side or something? But for sure, he doesn't seem very happy with what's going on. Maybe another puncture? I don't know. He seems to be revving the car quite a bit into the because the sort of way to drive this car is to short shift it. As soon as that dial turns red, you want to be changing up to the next gear. So the fact that he's waiting so long to change up the gears maybe suggests there's a small problem. But then again, looking at the split, compared to where Dirt Chocolate is, starting about 2 minutes behind, that's about the difference that I'd expect, about a split and a half, which is about 2 minutes. So it might just be a driving style thing. Certain drivers prefer to rev the car right up to the limiter, whereas other drivers prefer to use the torque of the car. This car has a lot of torque, and you can use the car effectively that way.
Yeah, he's currently at the end of stage 3 at least, which is almost at the end of stage 4, so we should maybe get a little bit of update on that. He's 50th overall, so it's not a bad performance by any means, certainly with over 1,400 members in the WRC club now. That is absolutely incredible. Keep on going, participating in the events and getting involved. It's fantastic to have these clips come in, but 50th, about 2 minutes off the very, very fast people such as yourself.
Not yet.
That's not too bad so far. Well, yeah, you're generally in that mix.
Before I even start.
It's fine, it's fine.
I honestly, I'm quite surprised. I think he's a little bit, something's happened in there that he's not very happy with, judging by the finish of that stage. But we'll have to wait for an interview to see what
Should we see if
happens
we can
there.
pull him in? If we see him
Maybe,
on mute,
perhaps.
we'll have a couple of minutes here to try and pull him in and ask him to stop over revving his car. Because yeah, I mean, ambient mic actually fantastic little bit of feedback for the creators. One of the things he said was don't over rev the car. She said short shift it, keep out of the red.
It's a 3-cylinder engine. That's the reason why. You've got very, very low sort of rev range where you've actually got a lot of power. And it's a car that likes low revs, maybe up until 5,000 RPM, and then you've got to change up even in real life. So you've got a lot of torque, but not a lot of horsepower at the high end.
Yep. So Punju has unmuted. So let's get him in. Punju, are you suffering sort of any issues out there? Because you it seemed just to be a little bit off of the pace, over revving the car maybe at times.
You know, this is one of those cars that exposes one of my biggest weaknesses, which is I shift like I will never have access to a gear shifter ever again. I shift so much, and it is really a bad problem. Honestly, I know it is, but you know, that's probably the big thing that's issuing me here is I'm just shifting way too much. But it's always fun.
Yeah. Maybe not using the RPM. This is a very peculiar car to drive. There's only a few cars like this in the game where it doesn't like high revving. And so it is a very specific technique, and I do agree with you on that one, that it takes a lot of time to get used to it, that's for sure.
Yeah, it just requires so much patience, and obviously how you do one thing is how you do everything, and I'm never patient in anything, so this is one of those that's really exposing that weakness for sure. But it's good. It's a test. It's a challenge.
Yeah, well, we've got reports that you're 50th overall after stage 3. I'm not sure what it's like after stage 4. It looks like a good time for you still. So on track for a good result?
Yeah.
E47 right there, as we can see on the leaderboard. So that's still pretty
Yeah.
good. Is that because, do you think a lot of people are having small issues going off here and there? Very technical rally.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and like for me, like honestly, what kind of just like turned me on a little bit for like my turn, like just like got me like go a little bit harder was Arrow was beating me going into stage 3. He was like, I'm beating you by 20 seconds, and I said, all right, Arrow, let me turn it on a little bit. And I went, I think I threw down a pretty good sector or stage 3 with like a couple small mistakes, but yeah, I caught back that time real quick, and now we're back in the lead pretty comfortably. So, but yeah, and that explains that up in pace a little bit.
Well, fantastic. Keep motoring out there, and we'll see you certainly at the next split. But we'll drag that out. And I think it's Aerotech is out there. He's coming towards the end of this fourth stage. 6 minutes 37 on. Is this stage 4? I've actually copied it completely the wrong time.
It is stage 4, yes.
And he's going to be about a 6 minute 48.9 here. And that seems like a decent time for him. These two.
As Patterson goes for a spin there as well. Patterson's been having a lot of spins this stage, sadly. So perhaps maybe forgetting to change tires or something? I don't know. He's got radiator damage again as well.
I mean, if he's forgotten to change tires, it's almost entirely our fault for pulling him in for an interview when we did. But
looks like he's driving straight. The wheel looks like it's okay, so that's fine. He's not doing any steering inputs that look abnormal.
Is that what you're looking for when you look for someone?
Most definitely. If they're going in a straight line and they're turning the wheel, then there's a problem.
Okay, yeah, it's bent steering or puncture or both.
Yeah, preferably not both.
Which one would you rather have if someone said to you, right, okay, you've got to go for this stage with a puncture on the front left or a bent steering arm?
If it's one stage, bent steering arm. If it's a rally, you always, you can deal with bent steering as long as it doesn't break completely. But a puncture can be as equally devastating if you don't have a spare, or if it's a very long stage.
It's one of those things like, would you rather lose your arms or your feet? That's the questions that I like to ask. As Patterson goes flying off.
Very. He did the technique, the pro technique of pressing the pause button, which you can do in real life, and resets track. Which is a very advanced technique, and a very wise one to use on the rally like this when you see the quantity of trees. It's one thing I was going to mention actually, compared to the real rally TV broadcast, is we don't have any problems with the footage being lost because of tree coverage. That's one problem. I was chatting a few years ago when we went to the WRC Esports final about this problem. I mentioned to them the footage cuts off. Why is that? Can you tell me about it? And they basically said it's to do with the trees and the climate. They've got a plane circling in the sky that takes the footage from the cameras in the car, and anytime the line of sight is broken, either a bridge or a tunnel or just a forest generally, or bad weather, the signal degrades and they either have to drop the quality or lose the footage, and that's why you get the problematic footage sometimes in the rally TV coverage. It's not like a racetrack where it's all fiber optics linked directly to the camera and no problems whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, next time we have an issue with our broadcasting software that's a bit of a choppy video feed, we'll blame it on the tree coverage.
Just say it's a Canon event and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we bake in these little problems with the broadcast setup to make it feel just like you're watching the real thing. Yeah, including with shots of the drivers in the bottom left-hand corner. That's something similar to that too. But Patterson going for a little bit of a spin there, and yeah, you saw a little bollard on the inside. that was basically you go to the right of that, you will be getting a corner cutting penalty, and he got a corner cutting penalty. Was it a little bit harsh with already losing a bit of time, or is it that's just the cut?
Probably in real life they'd annul or not give a penalty in the first place for that one. But obviously the game cannot differentiate from whether you're going too fast or too slow. That depends on your driving, basically. But those anti-cut devices are even more lethal in real life because they weigh a lot more, so they'll just give you a puncture or steering damage, or both.
Yep, so
Yeah.
he's a little bit far down the order. I'm guessing about
Oh, this is individual
152nd place.
stage, isn't it?
It's
It's not
hard to
overall.
tell actually, but Patterson,
152nd according to my screen.
yeah, 152nd. So he's struggling, and it's what we saw, to be honest. So yeah, so Patterson not having the greatest time. Dark Viper was a little bit lower than him on that stage. I spotted as well. So
Very dark on his screen as well. It's like
Yes,
you're driving
yes.
a different stage.
It is indeed. Yeah, he's I think on stage 5 now. I believe this one is. So this is very very late when we have.
It
Very,
can be
very
something
low
to do with
times.
the screen settings as well. Some people run different brightness, HDR, stuff like that. I know for a fact that certain drivers turn down the brightness for rallies like Sweden, where you can get snow
Yes.
blindness and stuff like
Oh,
that.
it's
So
very white.
it could be that, and it obviously it affects the footage that we receive as well. I just want to mention also, Only Vic seems to be having a very good couple of stages here. Seems to be very consistent pace. I haven't really seen too many mistakes whatsoever. Very good.
She did get a 30-second penalty on the last stage.
I said
Went
nothing.
absolutely flying off. But apart from that, I was literally thinking, oh, only Vic's doing well, I should say something. And then she went flying off, and I thought that you can even curse people by just thinking it, which is pretty brutal. But yeah, I think really quite consistent today.
The driving is great. Obviously, the mistakes happen with probably the pace notes or something like that. Just a call that's too late or a bit too optimistic. It can happen. And but apart from that, the lines are very very optimal. To be honest, it shows that the Formula One game is her preferred game of choice. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So where are we? We are currently on stage 5, I believe, which is CROATIA. It's one of our shorter stages. 4 minutes 27 is the quickest time set so far by Luke Jan Uki. I believe that's how you say it. And now Punju is coming to it now, and this is a very very
About
competitive
10
time actually.
seconds.
Probably
Yeah.
only about 15 seconds away from that time.
He's 13 seconds behind, if by my calculations. So that's a very good stage time. Yeah, impressive, impressive. It seems to just be getting into the groove of it. That's as only Vic, unfortunately, as we've just had a talk about her having a big mistake there going off
We
the
just shouldn't
stage,
say
but
it, should we?
looks like a recovery. Yep,
Mm.
indeed, recovered to the stage. Very good stuff. It's important sometimes to just for your mental side of things that you can recover the car rather than get a reset penalty. Sometimes it can strengthen your mental aspect of just pushing through the rally and keeping that spirit high, and so making less mistakes afterwards. I said, yeah, no, I've jinxed that one, haven't I?
Yeah, it's full commentator's curse at the moment. So we'll switch over to Dirk so we stop talking about how well she's doing, and then yeah, things not going well because if we don't say anything, she's actually doing supreme. We are literally just cursing it for her. Dirk out there, I believe he is switched off of the intermediates tires now. It's not going to rain. We knew that for the last 8 weeks since Punju first set up the club, but. He's he's got through those first 3 stages. Now he's through to this next block of stages.
No!
He has sometimes Punches watching back.
Surely
That excellent
not.
clip as well in the top left hand corner. If you haven't seen it yet before, Patterson doing a perfect double barrel roll, and there we are. Uh, uh, we'll just go back to Dirk, who's actually on track at the moment. But he's is he on
Looks
track?
like
Is he
gearing
facing the
up
wrong
to
way?
start. Gearing up to start the stage here, just with the
Okay.
handbrake on at the moment. Getting that mindset, the focus. Very important to get that focus on, especially on the short stage. You just want to be pushing flat out for that entire stage. Adam Sanderson with damage.
Yeah.
Unfortunate damage there with the engine. Once again, possibly maybe not repairing that in the service.
Mm.
Maybe the automatic repair fixing the engine rather than radiator. I have known it to do that sometimes.
Yeah, well,
So
the
unfortunately,
recommended repair is not something you'd click yourself up very often.
no, definitely not. I mean, you don't want to damage stuff in the first place,
No,
but
yeah,
yes,
well,
that is true.
it happens, right? It does happen. Certainly, like rallies like Kenya, you just expect a bit of damage,
Most
even if you're doing
certainly.
well. Yeah.
After watching the clip, glorious. I've seen it 3 times now. It's perfect. 10 out of 10 still. I can't find fault with it.
Yeah.
4th time, here we go. Oh, I love this stuff. Perfect.
Yeah.
It's just the calmness.
Yeah.
And we
He's like,
get a mid-barrel roll there.
yeah.
Lovely.
It's the oh no, and then he lands it, and it's like, oh yeah. That's what I love.
I mean, no matter what you do after the rally now, that is just the thing that
That's
we will remember from this.
that is it. That is the moment. That will be on social certainly. So keep an eye out on that one. That's a fantastic moment from Patterson. Adams out there on track with yeah, a camera in the wrong place. So he's had a little bit of a moment there. Not enjoying. Well, I think he's enjoying his first time
He's
out
enjoying
rallying
it.
in the WRC. He's not having the best of times, let's say. Having a few Devon Butler
Smiling.
moments, maybe.
Definitely smiling, so
But
that's positive, at least.
he's got maybe another stage after this before next service. Next service is a long service, but I suspect he's carrying enough damage that he won't be able to have a clean bill of health coming out of that one. So
Absolutely.
really, it's all about just minimizing these incidents and trying to limp through at this point, because basically anyone who does go, it does score some points on the creators board. Dark Viper out there, dark by name, very much dark by nature with his screen settings, and he's he's been a bit decent at times, but I think it's just his viewpoint makes him look so quick. There's something about it. I think he's really driving clean, but maybe some of that is just the settings that he's running for his camera settings, because they
Yeah,
really
the
give us
FOV
such speed.
settings. Yeah, the FOV settings make a huge difference in any game that you play. Formula One game, Assetto Corsa, or WRC, any video game really. What you can see on screen can affect drastically what you do, because the more zoomed out that you have, the faster you think you're going, and you can see more, but also it can warp your perception of things. I've had many times where I've had to decrease the FOV to actually get um, a more accurate view of how fast I'm going, how much speed I'm carrying into the corners. So this one's a dash cam, so I think it's a fixed FOV. But anybody running bonnet cam, the fixed FOV is the first dash cam and second dash cam. If you're going for the driver cam, that one you can modify. But yeah, so it's a different viewpoint, that's for sure.
When you go to events, because you've done a lot of events, of course, for
Mhm.
WRC esports, are you allowed to just set that up, tailor it for your own experience, or is it kind of a set, standard, fixed setting that everyone has to go by?
Depends on the events actually. The events run on the old WRC games, WRC 8 to WRC generations, were on a fixed camera setting. So you could only choose cameras that were inside the car. So dash cam or cockpit cam, or driver camera, basically. Any of those 3 cameras or 2 cameras, can't remember how many there were. Codemasters have tended in the past to take a more liberal approach, where most drivers use bonnet cam. And they don't really put any restrictions on there. As long as the footage looks good on camera for the events, then they don't really have a problem with it. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if the cameras will be restricted in any future esports events with the WRC base.
Yeah, new esports events coming soon. TM. I mean, you must be quite excited about the prospect of that.
Most certainly. I mean, competition is great and it leads to very fun events. So I'll be watching and looking to see how intense the practice is. Obviously, I know already from doing some clubs that certain drivers are putting their all into it already. And the stage times are quite incredible from anybody's standards, really.
Yeah, I mean, it would be fantastic to keep an eye on that. For now, we do have Patterson. He's got to the end of a stage. I'm not quite sure which one that is. Maybe the end of stage 6. Maybe a little bit earlier, actually. Maybe he's on stage 5 at the moment. But he's someone who's been carrying a fair chunk of damage thrilling us in different ways than just being super quick out there. But we're getting a good off-board shot of him, or at least we were getting a good off-board shot of him before the
Dark
cinematic
Viper
camera
nearly
change.
off at the last corner. He used all of the track limits and beyond, I think, on that last corner. Just a bit too shallow entry. It's a very deceptive corner that tightens on the apex, and just getting away with it, though. It was a good stage, I think, from Dark Viper.
Yep, 5:18 for himself. So that's seems fairly quick around there. I think this was stage 5, so that's about 50 seconds off of the pace, but not too bad. It's of course coming from that F1 background. I don't know how much WRC he has done, but he did come in here looking to take this one on at full pelt, and it seems to be involved with scrolling up, trying to see who's done better than him straight away. That competitiveness coming out, great to see. He's just going a little bit further up the order there. I think he was in the hundreds his time. I didn't quite catch the 5:18. This is a 5:12. You already see like this how close it can get further down the order with the differences of time between people. This many people competing in the club. As I've said it before, you can go on RaceNet to find our club as we watch Patterson the bottom half corner. Just watching a moment, a hit with the tree as well. That added misery to an already off-track moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, the car turning into a Beyblade there, but that's not generally what you want with this car, that's for sure. But it could have been worse, honestly. They were always slowing down and just getting the car stopped, so hopefully the damage will be minimal.
Yep, so we are, I believe Punju is now at the end of the stage 6, this one is, so this is coming up to the final service, and we're going to see what his time is when he comes through here. There's a couple of tight right-handers, and then over the stage he's giving the famous twirl, and it's 4 minutes 50, and I think that is a very, very nice time from Punju. He's really just dialed himself into this one today, hasn't he?
Yeah, that is a really good time there. That's a really good. He seems to have got back on top of things. There's a point. Look at that. Surprised. I think that's P16 on that stage. 9.5 seconds off. It looked good, and the stage time confirms it. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, and he's
amazing.
climbing up the orders because of it. He's in 37th position now. He's climbed up 10 positions since the end of stage 4. So that's Punji really just getting into the groove here and settling into it. It's fantastic
The
to see him
shock.
up there again.
The shock on the face. Look at that face. He does not know what to think of that. Just mind blown.
That's it's really good when you hook it together. It just is a fantastic feeling. Well, he's just unmuted. We could even maybe just pull him in and talk about his fantastic run through stage 6 there. Let's put you 37th in the standings. You're in a bit of shock there of how well you've done.
Yeah, I I did not know that I did that well. I'm gonna be honest with you. I got to the end of that, and I literally said, I had a bunch of mistakes in that one. It's probably like 35th, 40th-ish. It's probably one of those ones. And then it just pops with like an 18th. I'm like, all right, just kidding. That's crazy. That was so fast.
What do you think the difference is then?
I feel like the more I'm going, the more confident I'm getting as to like where the actual edge of braking is, and like I'll trail bake my way through this stuff. Like I don't know. Maybe it's the weight reduction. My door's barely hanging on, so I probably lost a hinge or two, so that's a couple pounds. Could be that. I don't know, but thumb's just feeling better.
Yeah, I noticed that you were using slightly different driving lines actually through the corners. You were staying a bit more to the inside, using maybe a bit more of that positive camber on the inside rather than drifting towards the outside. Do you think that maybe played a part?
I'm sure it definitely helped. I'm like just trying to think of like, go-kart lines almost. Like, obviously go-kart lines is all about like what's the literal tightest line you can do as close to the inside as you can to just like minimize distance. And it's worked out. I mean, honestly, I'm more so just trying to be cautious and careful. I'm just kind of understanding the rally more.
Well, if that is what careful and cautious looks like, I don't want to know what full push looks like, that's for sure.
Full push looks like a cliff, Isa. That's what it looks like. So,
fair point.
It looks like a car wrapped around a tree.
I'll take your word for it later, no worries.
But yeah, overall pretty good.
Yeah, so much damage to fix here?
A little bit for sure. Definitely some body work. I think I need to change my gearbox. I didn't change it last time. So I need to change that. outside of that, though, I don't think I got any damage really in these last 3 stages. So now it's kind of recovering. I don't think I broke my suspension at all. So yeah, should be pretty light, I hope.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we'll speak to you again soon, Punju, and yeah,
Thanks so much.
congratulations. Keep on
Appreciate it.
improving. We'll see you at the end. Should we pull in Dirk Chocolate as well? Dirk's got to the end of stage 6 and did have an opportunity to get off of those wet tires. How did those last 3 stages go?
Well, first one, meh. First one, that was the one I felt like, oh, okay, I can really fast here. Second one, I just made too many mistakes. And this one, really, really well, really well. So I think I finally found my rhythm, and I finally got lucky. So I'm happy.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
certainly looked like it. Smooth driving from what I saw. Just a few mistakes, obviously, but the driving, you looked a bit more confident, carrying a bit
Yeah.
more speed. So yeah, certainly looked very good. Do you think
Yeah.
that any of your F1 knowledge is translating over to this tarmac rally?
Honestly, this is out of all the ones that we've done so far. This is the one where I'm actually feeling really quick here. Because you have to drive it like a road circuit. So I'm like looking for apexes. I'm looking for corners. I'm thinking about like going wide, tuck it in. Like everything's kind of like just falling in nicely. I just wish I hadn't started on those stupid wet tires.
I mean, it has been a big catastrophic error, really. What have you gone? Have you gone for the mediums for this middle part, or did you go on the softs? What was your strategy?
Mediums, because I think
Okay.
I have to take them again after, and they still feel good, to be honest. We ignore that. They still feel good actually, but I think I'll keep them on because I think I've only got one more set of softs, and then I can use those. Yeah, I'll have to make do with what I've got, and I'm beating Patterson, so I'm happy.
Is that it? Your eyes on Patterson. I mean, Patterson, you haven't done as many beautiful rolls of him. We did actually see you
No.
watching that moment back. Any words about
Yeah, I said something I can't repeat.
that? Surely you said it in your VOD.
I did, yeah. And I was like, I said a couple of F-bombs, and I was like, how is that happening? And then for me, I'm losing tires. Yeah. That's impressive, though.
Very impressive. Very impressive indeed. So, what I will do is I'll let you just crack back on with it.
Thank you.
And yeah, good luck for the rest of the stages. I think we have 4 stages left, 3, and then we've got a short service before the power stage, which is through a really tricky section of this rally with lots of areas for incident, let's say that. But we do see a lot more drivers currently out there in a position to be interviewed. Should we pull someone in? Who you thinking you want to talk to, John?
Oh, I think anybody that's available, really. They've all got interesting stories to tell, that's for sure.
Yeah,
They're all
Patterson, because we're all muting up. We'll do Patterson. Patterson,
Hello.
how did it go? Was that better 3 stages overall, or
Yeah.
I didn't see many barrel rolls?
No, we didn't do too bad there. I'll be honest. I just said I'm going to send it, and then I felt because I was sending it, I actually raced pretty good. So that one wasn't too bad for me.
What do you think is the main thing that you've been struggling with that you've been able to get on top of or correct a little bit?
Maybe the hairpins. I'm probably getting like 70% of them correct now. Whereas before I was hammering the handbrake, you know, the back end were coming completely out, and then I was just hitting the like the berm, and then I was struggling. But now I've sort of got a bit of a knack where I can slop on the handbrake and then spin my wheel over, and yeah, sort of get the hairpin right.
And rewind time, apparently, according to the
Yes.
replay. Good thing to have, that is. Flashbacks coming back to WRC, you heard it here first.
I'm struggling with the tarmac. I'm not having the drifting like we was in Mexico, so that's the main struggle.
Very good explanation.
Fair enough. Well, good luck for the next few stages. What tyres do you want for the next few stages? You get switch over, or
I am going on to softs now.
get onto the softs, and then you'll use them to the end?
Yes.
Enjoy. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I have no idea. But
Punju said to do it, so I'm going to copy what Punju did.
there we are. The master and the apprentice. Well, enjoy those next 4 stages, certainly, Patterson. We'll keep an eye out for you. I'm not sure if Adam Sanderson or Aerotech have gone out yet. I know only Vic is
Aerotech.
there, but not available for
They
conversation.
seem
He's
to all
not
be in
showing up.
service right now, so we
Right.
should
Okay.
be
So
okay.
let's pull in Adam Sanderson. Let's pull him in.
Oh,
And how are you doing? How did you find those previous 3 stages? Any better than the last? We saw a few moments from you. We'll be honest.
Yeah, well, a few moments. But I think to be honest with you, the biggest thing that I've had is I don't know if you could see it on the broadcast, but my engine, it's doing crazy things. I've got my foot to the floor, and it's just like fluttering so much that it's just taking. Sometimes I was even thinking going up the hills, it's not going to make it. It's going to start slowing down before I get to the top. But I think I've repaired it. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see. One thing I did want to ask. Tires, do I have to change them now, or can I change them just before the last stage?
You can wait. You can definitely wait to change them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna wait.
One thing I'm noticing as well, you've got some little active aero going with your door there,
Yeah.
which seems to be, I don't know, they're trialing new aerodynamics, maybe
Well, I
some
think
Formula One channeling.
yeah, if you look at the boot and look at some of the cams in between the stages, as I was coming into the braking zone, it kept flying upwards. Now, I don't know if you know this, but the McLarens, say for example 600 LT, like Benjamin Daly's got, whenever he brakes, the rear wing just goes straight up in the air to give him a bit more braking power, and I think that's what I'm going for with this. Get rid of the boot latch. That's exactly what I'm going for.
Ford
I
Fiesta
think the FIA might have a few words to say about that, but it's a good concept.
We have some fun.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you crack on with those next few stages. But thank you very much
Cheers.
for joining the boys' booth, Adam, and good luck over the next few. And yeah, we do have drivers out there on track on stage 7, which is at sunrise. So no more dark events, and should be easier for our drivers towards the end here. We won't actually have any more night stages on here. Dirk Chocolate also on track. This is about a 4:51, the best time set so far. That's Loles.
And just as you said that, Puncher's gone off the stage. Just as you said that, he's just lost the car once again on the curb, I think, on the outside. Just clipping the right rear on the curb and just spinning, and now he's got to decide maybe a technical issue or something? Because it was a very weird mistake. He just didn't seem to counter steer or anything, almost as if the wheel turned off or something. And yeah, it was a very bizarre one.
16-second penalty. That's not
We
the
shall see.
worst, but it's not fantastic for him.
Well,
to
he's fighting at the
lose those
top of the
points.
order, so 16 seconds is quite a big time loss, unfortunately.
I mean, he was 9 seconds off of the best time on the previous stage where he really rocketed along, but that's only 16 seconds gone. So that is a huge chunk of change that he's just thrown down that ditch. So yeah, hopefully wasn't any technical issues for him. He seemed really frustrated that he was going to have to take the reset as well. To his chat, he was certainly gesticulating to them. But Dirk Chocolate also having a little bit of a moment through that corner, wobbling through it, certainly just collecting it. And I tell you what, there's one corner, I haven't quite caught it yet in the broadcast, where it tells you, right, that there's a hairpin right, but just before left, and it is so deceptive. The amount of times I went hairpin right into a bunch of trees was unreal, and I've been trying to keep an eye out on it. I feel like it is in this stage towards the end.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very difficult corner. I almost want to watch him. It was like back in Rally Kenya, there was a certain turn where you'd go for a
I
water
think
splash.
Punju's on the corner right now, actually, maybe. Or is it the next one? There's a few of them like that where it doesn't really call the fact that there's a right-hander or a left-hander before the hairpin. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to watch out whether any of the creators suffered the same fate, because me and producer Rob in our previous stream, we really struggled with it, and both of us getting caught out multiple times. It took me about 3 or 4 runs before we actually figured out, right, okay, this is actually a left-hander and then a right-hander. Dirk Chocolate was a bit all over the place there, just riding the gravel on the edge of the racing surface there. So he's absolutely on it, and you can see it's very hard to see through some of those corners how much you've got to turn, because you end up just looking at the sky.
Yeah, most of the problems is that on other rallies like Finland and Estonia or forest rallies, you can follow the tree line to see where the stage is going, including in Sweden and all of that. If you just follow where there's a gap in the trees, as Dirt Chocolate has not found the gap in the barrier, sadly, the gap in the trees dictates where you've got to go. But here, with the low light conditions in the trees and all of that, you cannot see really where you've got to go. So yes, visibility clearly an issue here. I'm also noticing for Adam Sanderson that the issue is that he is not fixing the radiator. So he fixes the engine damage, but the radiator is still devoid of any type of cooling liquid. So maybe if he gets some champagne at the end of the rally, he can put that in the radiator just to tonk it up a little bit.
It would be consolation champagne. It certainly wouldn't be supposed going on the podium with
You
how
never
it's
know.
been. I think those recommended upgrades, have been leading him astray. He certainly took them through the first service. I'd be surprised if he didn't take them through the second service. Punju's come to the end of the stage. I've completely missed the time that he got, but we'll be able to have a sneak peek when he loads up those leaderboards, taking it carefully into the marshals, which is not something Punju usually
Oh,
does.
chocolates off as well, hitting signpost and the stop sign, I think, which was unfortunately a little bit too literal. But yeah, it's difficult with the hairpins and having to use the handbrake as well, and then you've got obstacles on the outside, just the trifecta of chaos basically into these hairpins.
What was the circuit? What was the stage? Sorry, the rally. Was it Germany that would just have these concrete tombstones on the edge of the track? I don't
Yes,
think it's in this one.
Finkelsteins.
Yeah. Oh, that one that used to. Growing up playing rallying games, I basically raged every single time. Thank God the old Ego engine had a flashback system. Otherwise, I would have never got through one of those those Germany events. It's not in this one as well because I don't think it's actually on the WRC calendar at the moment, is it, Germany?
No, Rally Germany, last time I think it was on the calendar was 2019, if I remember correctly. But the Hinkelsteins are very, very dangerous. Obviously, they're designed to stop tanks. So the
Right.
Panzerplatte stage, which is the tank testing ground, which was built, I think, for West Germany or just in before World War II. It's literally designed to stop a tank from driving off of the road onto the grass where it would get stuck. So a rally car does not phase it at all. And in fact, the rally car tends to disintegrate. And
Yes.
there's been a lot of incidents in real life actually with Peter Solberg in 2004, which was a really scary accident. There is some footage if you want to see it on YouTube. But the car is not in a good state after it. And also Stéphane Lefebvre in 2018, if I remember correctly, which he went off on a flat out corner, hit a Hinkelstein, and it was effectively the end of his career in WRC.
Oh, really?
With a very lengthy recovery period. So no joke, the Hinkelsteins, that's
Wow.
for sure. But you've
Because
got stuff. Sorry to interrupt you. You've got things in these stages that replicate that sort of unmovable object.
yeah, that rapid deceleration, the force isn't gently dissipated; it's all completely out at once, and that probably goes through the driver's seat as well. So yeah, that's a pretty brutal way to end a career, all things said. But we do have some drivers there looking at their times. Aerotech, a
Very good time.
5:16 there. I think that's a decent time. I think that's in front of Punja, of course, who took that penalty. So he'll be certainly in chat speaking to him and talking about it because Punja's already come in the chat saying that Aerotech was bragging about being quicker than him through stage 2. So yeah, but interesting little rivalry coming there from the North Americans. Fantastic to see. Adam Sanderson a bit slower. In the 102nd place, that's a 5 minutes 35, but still not too bad a time. It's easier to be quicker and actually ahead of Dirk Chocolate, who is our, one of our resident drivers, Patterson,
Patterson.
almost facing the edge of oblivion there.
Again, the pro technique, it works. Just before the finish line as well. That's the 1 kilometer board. So
Right.
just at the end of the stage, as you can see on the sector at the top left there, he's got less than half a sector to go. So that would have been a very unfortunate incident.
Coming new to rally, I always looked at that and thought it looks like the 1 kilometer board from cycling. Now I know it is indeed a 1 kilometer board.
It is, and it's used in real life as well to
Flamme Rouge.
indicate to the drivers that they are approaching the stop. It's a safety feature basically to
Right.
indicate to the drivers pay attention for the finish boards and slow down after them.
Yeah, well, I did see
Because
it
there
too.
have been some incidences in I think it was 1997, or was it maybe earlier than that, where Mickey Biasion missed the finish boards and nearly drove flat out into the marshals at the end.
Crikey, that's the hazards and the dangers of rallying. It really is still ever present as well. As Onivik goes for a tumble down the hillside, just completely overcooking that left-hander there into there. It's so easy to just be drawn into it. You can get into such a nice rhythm, and then one small mistake, and you are literally off into oblivion. We saw it with Patterson, a very, very, easy mistake to make. When you come to the end of stages as well, sometimes you just psychology, it just dips a little bit, and suddenly you just leave yourself open to make a mistake that can cost you all of the good progress you've made over the previous kilometers.
Yeah, what is nice to see though is that the drivers look like they are enjoying themselves. The smiles that I'm seeing on the cameras, especially from Only Vic and from Punju as well, smiling a lot, even though they're making mistakes. The driving seems to be pleasing for them, and that's a really nice thing to see, really, because it can get you down. It can get you down a little bit, and sometimes if you make too many mistakes, it can affect your rally performance. But doesn't seem to be happening too much, at least.
Yeah, I mean, the joy of it is the WRC game. The platform is actually quite enjoyable, even if you not at the highest levels, competing at the highest levels. Maybe it's even more fun at that point because a mistake is a mistake. You just you get over it pretty quickly. Me and producer Rob really enjoy the preview streams because it's just a time to unwind on the winding road. Certainly here in Croatia, it was, and this is that corner. Punch is just going through it now. That really deceptive. The corner looks like you're going to go right. It says right, red, hairpin. You've got to take it right. But there is a little left-hand clink beforehand. And if you miss that pace note, it's so easy to get that wrong. But Punju, nice, calm and considered through there. So not making that mistake as he's currently on stage 8, which I believe is pronounced Kostanjevek. That's what I'm going for. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's right.
I'll
You
take
can
your
correct
word
me
on
in
it.
chat.
I'm not going to venture into that one. Two big mistakes or moments for Dark Viper and for Only Vic as well. There, Only Vic recreating a bobsleigh team. Unfortunately, for that one, it's very unfortunate. There's nothing you can do really. You're just a passenger once you go off the stage. These tarmac tires do not have any grip on the grass or the gravel that you have on the side of the road, sadly.
Yes.
As we
Dark
just saw
Viper's
from Dark
just had a
Viper.
little
Yep.
bit of a moment there. So there we are, proving the point
Sorry.
exactly. You can just will things into existence, can't you? You just say it's going to happen. I mean, you spoke about this back in Kenya about the psychology about I mean, obviously this is commentators and drivers, but when you're driving, you were speaking about how you've got to keep a positive mindset, and if once you start to think negatively, those mistakes can start to creep in.
Yeah, a quote that I use often from a certain somebody, I'm sure you'll recognize it, but sometimes my genius, it's almost frightening. And yeah, it's one of those things really that you can really sort of get caught up in the mindset of thinking too much about what's just happened. What did I do wrong? On a Formula One game, you have time to think about that. You've got a long straight on most tracks, or a lull in the action where you're not fighting anyone, or you're just conserving the tires or the car a little bit. And in rally, you don't really get that time. So all of that time that you spend concentrating on what just happened, you're busy making the next mistake. And on a tarmac rally that has no grip, and on this stage, which is downhill, that's a really bad recipe.
So, yes, here we are. We are on stage 8 at the moment, with just 3 more stages, well, 2 more stages left after this one. One of those, of course, being the power stage for our creators of 5 extra points available to them. Adam Sanderson having a bit of a tricky moment there, but keeping going in the right direction. That's always a relief when you have a bit of a moment. You don't know where it's going to go, but you end up just going forward. You can kind of just survive those ones, glance off them, and keep fighting until the next instant. This is a tricky right-hand, left-hander situation, almost the opposite of the one I was describing earlier, which is just very difficult because you have to be braking through that corner. Of course, this is a downhill section of the track that Adam's going through, so a little bit more harsh on the brakes. Is this quite a hard track on the brakes? Would you be repairing them halfway through this valley?
I think the brakes need to be in very good condition, but also the suspension. The braking zones are tricky, yes, but they're very bumpy as well. This is a bumpy tarmac rally. One of the most difficult, I think, especially in the game at least. In real life, probably the same as well, with the amount of dirt that gets dragged onto the road by the drivers. But thankfully, they don't have to compete with that in this game. But yeah, definitely the brakes are an important factor for downhill especially. It's interesting to see the contrast in driving styles here. Dark Chocolate going for a more calm, collected approach, whereas Punju's been pushing the limits a little bit and has been going off a few times. So it'll be interesting to see the stage time at the end of this one.
Yeah, I mean, they're racing with different mindsets, aren't they? Punja, of course, looking for the Creators Standings Championships. He wants to be a Creator Series champion, whether that's WRC or F1. It's no skin off his nose. But Dark Chocolate, of course, he's already had a few mistakes out there today. Of course, the wrong tyre compound at the start. He's just looking to make nice and steady progress. But it just does seem, you're right, just really conservative, but really considered. It doesn't seem slow. It just seems very cautious. And sometimes it's those laps going back to the same kind of show that you were referencing. When you're watching it and it seems slow, actually sometimes those can be the quicker rallies, certainly. Yeah, very, very much interesting. I'm talking about the star and the reasonably priced car nonsense there. But yeah, very interesting different styles, as you've pointed out. We also have Adam Sanderson and Dark Viper, our two debutantes to the WRC Creator Series Club. Of course, you can all get involved, send in clips through the week, and we'll be able to show them out on the broadcast. Didn't get any clips this week, so everyone should absolutely get in the Discord, !WRC, if you're not already in. Join the club, be part of it, send those clips in, and we play them out on the broadcast. It's always great to have people's inclusions, and also big shout out to some people in chat like Ambient Mike as well for being able to put in some good information that I've actually got in my commentary notes, by the way, Mike. Fantastic information. I think he's 6th overall before our creator start, and I think he'll remain 6th overall. Certainly, Adam Sanderson, another big mistake here. I think that's 2 30-second penalties he's got on this this stage 8 that we're on.
Yeah, a lot of time lost there for Dark Viper GT in 129th, no, 128th, I think, place, according to what I can see. Whereas Punju was about 50th, if I saw that correctly. So big time difference there, and it just reflects how much Punju was actually pushing during that stage, making mistakes, but making up the time with it. Sometimes on this rally, you've just got to take the risks because that braking zone can be so long if you're cautious that you can lose a second per corner. The gaps are not like in Formula One where it's maybe 2 or 3 tenths of a second per lap. This can be literal tens of seconds if you're confident with the car.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to see that the different mindsets, the different styles, and what kind of times are being done out there. Dark Chocolate with a new background. I think he's moved house recently, so it's good to see him back up and running as well. I haven't actually been able to commentate on him for a few weeks. I think the last one he actually wasn't able to do. Yeah, it's been good to have him. Have me back commentating him certainly, and he's a good lad, and we'll see if he can get crack into those podium positions like he did earlier on. Of course, he's 3rd overall in the champion standings at the moment, as he just absolutely clatters that fencing. Thank goodness it was there, because otherwise those spectators were going to get a mouthful. And he's going to go through the flying finish and into stop point control. 6:41 for him, still a decent time. And yeah, just trying to make up for lost time from earlier, of course, making that mistake with the tyre choice.
What's impressed me actually looking at all 4 drivers here is the difference that I'm seeing from the start of the rally to the end of the rally. The driving lines are more consistent, the driving's a bit more calm, and I hope I'm not about to jinx anyone. That's why I'm doing a short little pause just to make sure, tentatively.
Good for the menus,
Everything
so you
seems to
can't
be
jinx
fine
them.
for the moment.
Yeah.
But no, they're driving more consistently. They're driving more on the limit, and as Dark Viper just goes off a little bit, no, we'll call it a controlled drift there. That's fine. But it's very, very good to see that even a beginner can just pick up the game, and in a few corners can just a few stages, I mean, can just increase their skill tenfold. It's really like I'm watching different drivers from their perspective, and that's incredible to see.
Just learning the car, learning the track, learning the characteristics of it all. You just start to pick up those little things over just the course of 8 stages that we've had so far.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. And having just being able to cope with that for the 7 or 8 stages that they've done so far, they can really just get in the groove, as you said, and because they have to get to the end, or they want to get to the end of the rally, it forces them to learn stuff that they might not learn if they're like swapping between cars or tracks or different surfaces. They really have to focus on that one element, and that's when you can learn the most. Just focusing on that little difference or that little detail that might come in useful for a different stage.
Yep. So we are at the end of stage. I think are we going to be starting stage 8? Sorry, or stage 9? We've lost a little bit in the time because our timekeeper in the background has had to disappear. So we're not absolutely too sure where we are, but I think we're at the end of stage 8
Have you guys
for
finished
most of our
stage 8?
drivers here. So we should be able to get some times in there. I'm just
Okay,
going to
Arrow.
scoot
So you
through
are in second
and
right now.
see where our
Hell yeah.
boy Punju is and whether he's
You
cracked
are
the front
6 minutes off
top
the
page yet. I
lead.
don't think he has.
Oh,
No,
Patterson
30
has a
minutes.
puncture.
Ooh,
Patterson, I
no.
think, has a puncture. The way
Now
he
you're 2
rotated
minutes
with
off
the
the
car
lead.
then looked very suspicious.
That's equally as pathetic, that's fine.
That's
We'll
very
have to wait and see
telltale.
now.
On entry to a
Actually,
corner,
minute
just
I
and
th-
losing the
50. That
balance.
makes it any better?
I think
That's-
the
yeah,
tire
that's
just
much
popped
better.
then. The way the car
After
shook,
that
let's see.
is Rick,
Yeah,
actually.
definitely got a puncture.
Back or
Even
front?
though she's not on stream, she's
I
doing pretty good.
think it's a rear left
She'd
once
be
again.
second.
Yeah, wow.
Another rear left
And
puncture.
then
Yes.
after Rick, we're down to the
Which is
hundreds
very,
now.
very unfortunate, especially on a downhill stage.
Viper,
You'll
Dark
have
Viper.
no weight on the rear
Let's
and it'll
go.
just act as a handbrake
And
effectively.
then after Dark Viper, we got Garrett.
Ironically, on a stage going downhill, you want a front
After
puncture
Garrett, we've
because it's
got
easier to
Rob,
manage.
and
Yes,
then
you'll get a
after Rob,
load
we've
of
got Dirk.
understeer, but it'll
No.
avoid you spinning out like that. And it looks like he has no spare on the car. So maybe a puncture that we failed to notice previously.
And I don't
He's
have
possibly
Patterson or Abby
repaired
yet, 'cause I
that,
don't
or
think
it's
you guys
been
have finished the
automatically
final.
repaired,
Actually,
and
I
now
do see
that's a puncture
Adam's
until the
in
next
last as of
service,
right now.
which I'm not sure if that's the next stage, but I'm hoping it is. For
No, I think
Patterson.
he's got one more stage to go after this one. So it's suffering. I've been there before. I'm sure you've been there before, where you've got just a long way to go. You're looking down the barrel and you just think this is just time going
Yeah, you
and
would have
going
been 2
and
seconds
going.
away from.
Yeah, most certainly, and it can get frustrating as well. You overdrive the car. You try and you get one good corner where you think, "Oh, I was just on the limit there. Maybe I can push another kilometer per hour faster, and it won't spin." And then it does spin, and then you get frustrated, so you back off once again. You build up that limit, and it happens again and again and again during the stage. It's very difficult, and that's why it's so devastating even in real life when people get a puncture. Oh, that's a high speed spin! Wow, another one for the clips right there. High speed spin, wonderful stuff.
Oh my
A
god.
stunt driver in the making right there. Lovely.
I think he's just having fun with it now. He's resigned to his fate that this is not going to be a quick rally, but it can still be a fun rally.
It might not be
Certainly,
fast, but it's definitely spectacular. And doing the spin in front of the fans as well, you've got to
Yeah.
admire the showmanship there.
the spectators as normal, standing there and showing no appreciation. But us as spectators, we are absolutely loving that in the booth. This is fantastic to see. You got to find the fun where you can find it. Right, sometimes things just don't go your way. Events don't crack off how you expect them to do. But as long as you're having fun on the game, that's the most important thing.
Indeed. Yeah, it's very refreshing to see the mentality of these drivers just not being phased by anything, not really paying too much attention to the results, more enjoying the driving experience, and that's something unique about Rally. In most games, it's all about what position you finish in, like fighting with other drivers, whereas Rally is more about the experience of the stages, just driving by yourself, getting the maximum out of the car. And I think that changes the perspective of a lot of drivers, including some of the F1 racers, where they just have the ability to relax a bit more than if they were driving a circuit racing game.
Yep, so we are now on stage 9, which is for Bono, which is, again, not how you say it, but that's how we're saying it tonight. And the quickest person so far, again, look, Jan Nuka is overall the quickest, but it's actually Lieutenant Callaghan who's quickest on that stage with a 7 minutes 32. So a slightly longer stage here, 12.7 kilometers. Partly cloudy conditions as well. How does that affect? Does that mean that there's less temperature in the surface here and less temperature going through the wheels?
Well, it can depend. There's obviously a cut-off point to this theory, but a bit like in Le Mans, when the fastest laps are set at night because the track temperature is lower so the tires don't overheat, you can push a lot more at night. As long as you have the visibility. You have that exchange of a bit of visibility for less overheating of the tires here. Now, with the tree line and all of that, it can become very difficult with the shadows to see where you're actually going. But I think it might be a benefit here. It's sort of a semi-cloudy, still a bit of sunlight shining through the trees, put it that way. So it should be of benefit to the drivers. They're going uphill as well, so maybe a tiny bit more understeer for them to cope with here. It certainly looks like it for Adams Sanderson. But the other driver seems to be doing quite well.
It's understeer, then oversteer, and then off the track for good measure.
Hey, how do you describe my rally like
yeah.
that? How did you know?
Yeah, I've decided Punju's speed. It just looks so slow in the bottom right-hand corner of our screens. But it must be just the FOV. Like obviously he's doing quick. He's 39th overall coming into the stage, leading the creators at the moment. Of course, Eyes Amusing is going to give him a good run for his money after the stream. So everyone should stay on while we raid him for 10 stages. You'll probably rattle through them. It's a bit of a quicker event than we normally have through Croatia. Only 10 stages. And not super long stages as well. Quite often you have 2 or 3 20-kilometer stages. We only had that one 25-kilometer stage, which was our big stage. That was way back early on stage 3. So, it's a little bit more rapid fire, isn't it, here at Croatia?
Yeah, tarmac rallies are faster in any case. The average speed is really, really high compared to a gravel rally, unless you're going to somewhere like Finland or Estonia, where or even Sweden on snow, where the high speed is very, very fast. Obviously we've got a modern car here as well, so the speed you can carry through the apexes and all that means that the distance appears shorter. Whereas in fact you're covering a lot of kilometers. The real rally is over 300 kilometers, but it goes by in a flash, with most of the stage times being about 5 minutes, because they are just on the limit all the time. So yeah, the main thing actually slowing down times is just the mistakes. If you keep it consistent and on track, the rally goes by pretty quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have this stage to go before the final service, and then we do have a power stage as well. Whoever's quickest on that stage will indeed take an extra 5 points, 4 points per second, all the way down to fifth position, which is 1 point, and absolutely worth going for in that one, in that respect at least. And we do have a bit of an update on the standings. We never actually went to the Creator Series standings. Maybe we could do that maybe just before the next stage. It is Punji who's currently leading with 131, with 3 rounds to go, including this one. 75 points you're on yourself. We've spoken about it a little bit early, but that seems like a big gap. But do you think, that's catchable, or do you think second place is probably as far as you can go with this?
Pure pace alone, no, because Punja's a very, very good driver and can be consistent and can just get to the end of a rally if necessary. Realistically, I need a DNF. I mean, I'm not looking too much at the points. I just enjoy driving the stages generally. So very rarely do I actually look at the standings. The first thing I knew about the points was you telling me right there. So yeah,
Right.
I'm just noticing some smoke coming from the front of Adam Sanderson's car there. That is not good. That is serious engine damage. I hope that's not terminal damage. But with 1.5 stages to go, that is not looking good.
I mean, with a 15-minute service coming up, what can you realistically do to solve those issues?
The best thing you can do is repair the radiator and hope for the best on the engine. You will not be able to repair the engine. So just get that radiator repaired and just pray that the engine holds on for another stage. I think at this point he's probably got some piston damage, probably a misfire and stuff like that. If that radiator is not repaired, that might be a terminal damage in the last stage, and I do not wish that on anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's remarkable how long that car has run with no coolant in the system. I think if this was real life, it would have lasted maybe 2 sectors. But
It's
that's
the Ford Eco
no.
Boost is working very, very well in this one, that's for sure. I mean,
And now
even more economical on 2 cylinders instead of 3. Who could have imagined?
reverse gear being optimal there to find the edge of the track. I thought if you're going off there with the lack of power you have, you may find it very difficult to scrabble back up the hill here, Adam. But he's he's found a way up, taking a little bit of a penalty. But I think it's really just crucial for him to get to the end here and take all the learning experience he can here in the WRC club that we have for the Creator Series. Punju is in the bottom right-hand corner. He's going to be the first person to complete this Verbono stage that we're on. It's 12.7 kilometers, and it's the reverse of our power
Commentator's
stage as
curse.
well. So we will be running a reverse of this on the next one. Can Punju do anything? Can Punju get to the end? He can reset to track, certainly. He's gutted with that one. We did
The
just commentator's
commentator's
curse.
curse. Yeah, just as he finished that sentence, it was all over for him, unfortunately. I'm not sure.
Sorry,
Maybe.
Is that going to be
No,
reset, or
he's
is it-
taking the reset. He's taking the
is
reset.
it- I
6
mean,
seconds, sensible.
Yeah, I mean, is that tree immovable? Was that going to be a
I
bit
think
of damage?
I think the rally logic is to not find out in the first place. That might be the best way to do it.
I
Um,
know. It's first time for everything. You got to try everything once, right?
Yeah, well, the problem is that most rally drivers, including myself, spend too long inspecting the quality of the tree textures in this game. So once more, I don't think we'll learn anything new, unfortunately, from that.
Yeah, 8 minutes 17 overall on that one. So that's put him
Good
a
enough for
little
a top 50.
Yes,
Near enough. Top
it's not
50
bad.
result.
Of course, there's a bit of attrition going through the clubs as people just don't complete it or DNF or haven't actually got to that point in the rally yet. But yeah, it's not one of his better results. Of course, he was like P16 with his best result. That was all the way back on stage 6 where he was cooking. But that last block wasn't perfect for him. And to be honest, we could probably pull him in and talk through it.
Hey, you know what?
Punju,
Hey.
right at the end there, you had a little bit of a moment. You just were going to go off a cliff or crash
And
into a tree. You decided.
Only
know-
Vic's just gone off in the same location, by the way.
Oh, did you really?
Same thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, just seen it there.
Yeah.
Dude, it comes out of nowhere. Like, you're at the end of it. It's a 9-minute stage. Like, you're just like mentally kind of getting close to that drain spot. It's like right when the fog sets in, there's like a tightening left 3. It just comes out of nowhere with like no runoff. Yeah. One of those.
Yeah. How's the car feeling though? Any notable damage, or have you managed to maintain it over the event?
Yeah, damage isn't bad. Tires are destroyed for sure, but outside the tires, having a rough day. Like, honestly, it's been pretty good. I've saved a set of softs for this power stage, so I'm ready to go ham and send it. But
In for
in
those 5
exchange,
power stage points.
yeah, I'm trying for it, man. I mean, I really want to get it, but you obviously have yet to go, so I don't know if I'm gonna get it. But I'll at least settle for 4.
If you
Yeah.
come out of this stage with 60-point lead over John here, you will become the Creator Series champion for WRC with 2 rounds to go. That could happen. Of course, John's yet to go. He's quite nifty around
He is.
WRC, so it would have to be a bit of misfortune for John. But I think the point gap at the moment is roughly 50-something points, 56 points or something like that, maybe a little bit lower than that. But
Okay.
do you think? Do you feel like you could wrap this up soon?
I'm not gonna count my chickens till they hatch.
I'm desperate. You're drivers, aren't they? I'm desperate. I'm asking John in commentary to just be like, "Yeah, I'm going to rinse this guy." And neither of you're like, "Oh, they're both so quick, and I'm not going to count my chickens and all this." Just going on each other for once. Come on.
He's got that voodoo doll in the background, just waiting. Don't you worry.
I am the king of jinxing myself. I'm so good at jinxing myself. But by the way, our producer Rob is actually beating Dark right now. I just want to put that one out there. I'm so good at jinxing myself. Like it is a serious talent. If I say a single word about I'm cooking, I'm doing good, I think I'm gonna win, I'm gonna throw this thing off a cliff. So I'm gonna hold my tongue, be smart. It has nothing to do with diplomacy, and it has everything to do with self-preservation. Honestly,
Yeah. Patterson is literally cooking, by the way, out there. Patterson and Adam Sanderson are really finding the boiling
heard.
point of that eco boost. It's
You want
he's
to
also-
know something fun about Adam Sanderson and his night tonight? I learned at the last service station that he didn't know you could service your cars. So that's pretty
Oh.
funny.
he told us he
Uh,
took recommended. We taught him.
yeah.
We showed him.
He didn't listen. He didn't leave repairs after the first stage. He literally didn't repair it at all for the first service station. So
All
it's
right.
the second service station for him to say, "Oh wait, I can do this." I was like, "Yes, Adam, you can."
Yeah,
That
so
car
that's
is a
great.
tank.
that would explain
That's
why there's no coolant in that
incredible.
car.
Yeah.
No coolant, only dreams. That's all he's running on right now.
That is
Good fight.
impressive. I will give him that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Punja, we'll let you get on with it, and we'll get to some of our other creators. Good luck in the final power stage, and I hope softs treat you well. But I'll tell you what, we could pull in Aerotech. We haven't spoken to Aerotech for a little while, have we? Aero, we did get to manage to talk to you at the last service, but this service, that car's looking pretty good, I must say, compared to the car we have on the right on our screen, which is a little bit smoky. So you've kept that well together over the last 3 stages.
Yeah, that's kind of been the goal. Again, like I don't know what it is about tarmac. There's a little voice in the back of my head that's like, you can go faster, and that's exactly when you hit the tree. So I had a little bit of an off in that one, but for the most part, we've been drama free. I could definitely go quicker, but I think I'm in second right now, and Punju's like a minute ahead. So if I just don't crash, we should end up finishing P2. It's a bummer because I see him so close to me on some of these stage times, but we'll get him next week if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've edged him out on a couple of stages, haven't you? And Punji was saying that you actually spoke about that, and that's why you set in such a impressive stage 3. Do you feel like one week you come here and kind of upset Punju and kick off his dominance a bit?
I'm just stoked I can keep up with him, honestly. I mean, I know he's a good driver in a lot of different disciplines, but since I've joined here, he's got so much more time and puts the practice in and whatever. So if I can just be in the same league as him, and I know he's pretty close to Izzet too, who's not here this week, but he's incredible at this video game. So if I'm just in the conversation, that's a win. But yeah, maybe a little bit
He'll
more
be
time.
saying it right after. Izzet will be saying it right after.
Yeah. I'll let us
Definitely
get
not
all
here.
comfortable. That's easy, sports people, I swear.
I'm just going to remain
nerds.
quiet.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll let you crack on with this final power stage. Do you have a fresh set of tyres, or is it?
I do. We put on the softies. We're going to see what we could do. I'm scared that I'm going to either underdrive and not use the tire too much, or the opposite. So
Don't do what I did. I used them to great advantage to hurl myself off of the cliff.
as it's
give
known,
myself
a
30 seconds
soft
on
tire
TV.
compound gives you plenty of grip midair. That is a common fact that is studied. Look it up. Google it.
Well, I'll let you crack on with it and don't do what I did. I think that's good advice to anyone. Don't do what I did. That's I'm going to tell that to absolutely everyone.
That's fair advice, to be honest. Patterson just making his way through the stage here.
Yeah, put the Benny Hill music over it, speed it up by 6 times.
Is he driving or having a barbecue? I'm not sure which one. Maybe both at the same time. That would be very, very good. But unfortunately, not good for stage time. Puncture plus engine damage plus radiator damage. Not the best combo I've seen, but creative for sure, sadly.
I think he could get overtaken by a kind of pizza delivery moped. Is with how slow he's going. It's it's good to have a quick look at the top right corner. But we do have drivers out there. Punju's hitting the track at the bottom right corner. Dirk Chocolate also hitting the track, and Dark Viper. Yeah, there's people who are following Dark Viper in chat. Tell him to go get in the Creator Series Discord so he can have a
He's gone
conversation
off.
with them. But he's gone off.
Straight
There we
off,
are,
but he's
straight away.
recovered. 2 seconds lost, maybe that was good. They're obviously all pushing for power stage points now. They know the deal. And there's 5 points on offer, which is not negligible if you're wanting to get yourself up on the standings. But it's obviously risk versus reward. Do you throw away a good finish, as Dark Chocolate nearly did then hit, just avoiding the post by millimeters there? It's always tricky, and Punju's off. Big crash, he's recovered it somehow. Is that a puncture, though? That was a hefty hit.
If he's got away with that one, he's very lucky, and immediately into the next corner.
I don't
Just
think
still
he has.
not at the races. He's just hit the inside there, but again, lives to fight another day, and he can push on. And we saw this between Dirk and Punju earlier. Dirk keeping it consistent on track, but Punju pushing so hard, making a few mistakes, surviving them, but crucially, carrying on and marching forward here. But the big thing is, there is 5 points available here. But if you do something drastic and end up DNFing it, you're getting no points for the whole rally, and that could
Dark
be.
Chocolate just hit the exact same corner there as well.
Only Vic's got some chips again. The Only Vic chips are back. Oh, I'm so glad. Excellent, fantastic. Any cheesy chips? We'll try and ask her later on.
We need all
Also,
the details.
Riff Blondie, thank you very much for the watch along. Hello, everyone in Riff Blondie's chat. If you're listening along to us at this point, we really appreciate that. And yeah, obviously great to have you here over the last few weeks as well. We'll look forward to you being back in the car, hopefully over the next few rounds. But yeah, out there, Punju at the moment, he's going through the fourth sector at the moment here on this
Flat
really
out.
tight and technical part of the track. You said it was quite evil to have this as a power stage choice, didn't you?
It is really because you start at the top of the hill with some, fast flowing corners, about third, fourth gear, something like that. And yeah, Patterson's just got a Christmas tree of damage there, unfortunately, at the top. You need to focus on just the radiator and the engine. Don't worry about anything else. Oh, you can't even get the quick fix of the engine, but maybe if you could just fix the engine and the radiator, that's what you need to do. But unfortunately, I don't think he's got enough time. So maybe at this point, fix the engine, leave the radiator, because as long as the engine makes it to the end, you don't have to worry about it.
What would
But
happen in real life if you just fixed the whole car? I know you are bound by a timeline and it would happen, but what would you just not get on the stage, right? Is that why these kind of restrictions are in this little kind of mini game is trying to represent? Like if you
so yeah, there's multiple rules about that. So you have a time. If you go over time limit, you get 10 seconds penalty for every 1 minute over time in
right,
the repairs. If you go over by 15 minutes, you're over time limit and you are effectively disqualified from the rally.
interesting.
You're
Okay,
DNF'd, you have to restart. It's the same on the stage. There's a
yeah,
maximum time. I think it's 10 minutes over the leader's time or over a calculated time of your category of cars. If you go over that, then you're retired for the day anyway, even if you make it to the end of the stage. The second thing to take into account is certain parts are not able to be replaced. For example, the engine cannot be replaced.
Even
Yes.
even in a situation where you can re-enter the car on the next stage if you don't get to the end, or is that still you can't replace the engine?
In real rally,
Yeah,
in WRC rallies, in any case, I'm not sure
yeah,
about national regulations, but in the WRC, the engine is registered for that event, and if you blow the engine or if it has a problem and you can't fix it, you just have to drive to the end on that engine. Which is why when they get radiator damage, mainly it's normally the end of the road because these engines are
right.
so highly tuned that any type of overheating does permanent damage to the engine.
Well, we know Adam Sanderson can carry a nice engine through 9 stages with no coolant, so maybe they need to get him in. But Dirk Chocolate, I don't know if we just noticed he was off the stage there. He was
Was
it
indeed.
down a gully, and yeah, the power stage not treating him that kindly here. But just motoring down the hill. Punju was
Andrew
saying it
pushing
was
the limit here.
behind producer Rob, so maybe just trying to get back under that cut as Dark
Dark
Viper
Viper
having a bit of a
nearly.
moment as well.
And
So
Punjo as well, nearly as well. On the inside, it can be really easy to tip the car because all of the weight is on the outside. If you clip something on the inside, you can roll over onto your roof. I was just going to mention part of that over time limit. People that have been watching rally for a good amount of time will remember Colin McRae in Australia in 2005, where they did a routine gearbox maintenance check in service. They put the gearbox back on wrong or I think it was the clutch actually they put on the wrong way, and they had to dismantle the gearbox again. And in doing so, they went over time limit, and Colin McRae was out of the rally.
that's it's funny those little mistakes happen. I mean, mistakes happen in any workplace, right? But to happen on the world stage. I remember back a few years when Alonso was in IndyCar and McLaren they bought a setup off of Andretti, I believe, and they put it all into their setup. They put it all in, and they just got confused between centimeters and inches when they were doing some of
Mhm.
the tuning, and it just meant that they couldn't race. He almost qualified for the Indy 500, even with that terrible setup. But it's just so interesting. Those mistakes we all make them in our workplace, but when they
Even
happen,
NASA made them.
yeah, well that's it.
Famously,
Yeah,
NASA made the mistake with the calculations as well, inches and centimeters, and
yeah.
had really big problems.
Yeah, well, Dark Viper is going to be, I think, the first car to get to the end of this power
He
stage
is
here,
flying.
and he is. It does just look so quick, but we are coming towards the stop point control and hitting that flying finish. It's going to be an 8:45.423 for him.
Good time.
That was a very good time from him. He could be in lineup
And
for
Drew's just
those
crossing the
points.
line as well. I've struggled to find the time. It's a good spin across the line.
He's had a big moment. Punju has a big moment over the line. So
Very big
that's
spin.
At 8:45 for Dark Viper
Donuts,
GT.
yes, the
That's the
donuts.
that's the highest
Lovely
so
stuff.
far. We'll keep an eye out on Punju and see if he's done anything better than that. But we also have Dirt Chocolate and also out there on track as well. And he's about a minute and a half away from that. He's got a sector to go, so it could be better.
Yeah.
7-minute 33 for
I
Punju.
think, yeah,
Wow.
Jerk Chocolate's already over that time,
Yes.
and he's still got a sector to go. From what I can see, that is incredible.
That is, he has look
What a
15th
push!
position.
15th,
That's
15 seconds off.
just
Incredible.
behind Vlembar, who is the overall leader of the club at the moment. He's been consistently quick week in week out
Yeah.
with us since Rally Finland. In fact, winning Rally Finland right at the start of this one. He leads with 1,196 points going into this round. So yeah, that was just a great time, and what a great time to pull it out on the power stage. That's when you want to pull out the big stops.
Most certainly, most certainly. Funju really wants that championship this round, it seems. He's laid everything down on the table. All the pressure going on to their rival. I wonder who that could be.
No wonder when I said, "Oh, can I have John for commentary tonight? I really need him." He was like, "Yeah, no problem. Yeah, sure, no problem."
Here to assist in my downfall. I see. No worries.
Aerotech out there. He's had a very, very
Oh,
good
that's
day.
an interesting line from Patterson. Just going a bit of safari there, thinking he could cut the corner, but a bit of a reset penalty.
8:34 for Dirk, so that's a second quicker than Dark Viper. Only Vic's having some chips
More
in the middle of the
chips,
stage.
lovely
And to
stuff.
be honest, I feel like having some chips now. To be honest, so I feel incredibly jealous of whatever she's eating. It looks completely greasy and completely fantastic. So
Aerotech 7:45 on that one. Very good stage time as well.
really good. 10 seconds behind. They must be cheesy. If they're not cheesy, then I'd just be incredibly disappointed. But yeah, Aerotech coming over the line, 8:45. It's 7:45. You're saying that's about 10 seconds off of Punju, 30th
I
position.
think so.
That was very, very good.
Very good.
A very good time from him. So fantastic to see that. Dirk Chocolate it did beat Dark Viper just, but we'll be able to get a look at the overall as well, actually, and we'll be able to do that. I think Punju is so far leading out the creators. Of course, Eyes Amusing will be having his attempt straight after this stream, so you can stick with us in the creator series to watch along with that one. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how you do with that. Whether you'll be able to match him on that power stage. Yeah, thank you very much to Riff Blondie's viewers for raiding us as well. Really appreciate that. Yeah, great to have you here. Yeah, interesting. Patterson's still out there. He's one of our drivers who's out there, but we can probably pull in Punju now and talk through that brilliant power stage. You pulled out all the stops there. Those fresh softs really worked well for you.
Yeah, they did. Wow, that is way better than I expected it was gonna be. I'm stoked. That was awesome.
Impressive. Just absolutely impressive just to see the limits you were pushing there, just the braking zones, everything just looked to work in unison.
Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty good. I had a couple little mistakes here and there for sure, but majority of the time I could pull it back in and keep it finishing off, and yeah, it was good. It was really good. Really good.
Yeah, 34th overall, I believe. 5 minutes off of the pace of our overall leader, who is someone, but I've just gone to completely the wrong page. So it is Lucky.
It's Lukey, probably. Yeah.
Lukey who's done it. So that's not surprising. But yeah, I mean, you're feeling confident with that one. I think that would be a difficult time for John to beat with the power stage that he'll be doing a little bit later. Do you feel like confident you could hold on to that position and stay in the hot seat?
I don't think I'll win this one. I mean, I know Eyes Amusing, he just touches this game and it turns to gold. So I don't know about winning this one, but I actually did say I genuinely believe this. There was the first time in a long time an outside chance that I beat him on the power stage because that was really good. He would have to make some pretty big blunders for sure, but John, there's the slightest bit of chance that I might beat you, and I'm just grasping out of that glimmer of hope because it's very thin glimmer, but it's there. So I never know.
Look, I've been saying the whole time that anything can happen, and we saw last week with the unfortunate demise of my engine through El Chocolate. Anything can happen, you know. It's rally, and like in real life, you can be the fastest driver on there, but it doesn't matter. Consistency is key. Anything, including technical difficulties, can show their bad side to you.
Yeah, that's very true. I think without some of the offs that I had throughout the day and stuff like that, I definitely had some big penalties. I probably could have been up into the top 20-ish, top 25-ish. I bet you, but yeah, it is what it is. We ball. Overall, I'm pretty stoked for today. Today was good.
Yeah, well, fantastic result there for you. We'll put you back in, but yeah, very much, and also congratulations, a double win today because you of course got into the EA Creator Network. So, are you any
you.
words to say about getting into that scheme today?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for obviously all the people here at Creator Series, all the people that watch, follow, and support. It's really appreciate it, and it just as I look at it as only the beginning. It's only a bigger opportunity to keep doing bigger and better things for people to enjoy and spend their Monday afternoons with. So yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Well, it's fantastic, deserved, and yeah, appreciate all the time you put into this club as well, running it and helping put on a fantastic show. Now we will pulling Dirk Chocolate, who didn't have the most ideal of days. It's fair to say. You didn't quite hit the level you would have wanted to. It all kind of went downhill from that early mistake with the intermediate tires, didn't it?
I would be giving you the middle finger right now if we weren't live. That's all I'm gonna say. I just saw where you finished, and I'm like,
well, I mean, I thought I was going to be nice to you there. I thought that was being nice. The other intro I had planned is you've been beaten by producer Rob overall. Yeah, by only about 15 seconds, 13 seconds, something like that. It's quite a close margin. Yeah, you've lost out to a producer. I mean,
I'm
producer
upset
Rob did
that,
use the correct tire
when I
compounds
was
at
like
all
not
times.
broken,
So
our stage times were pretty close, and you beat me by 2 minutes.
brother,
and
you just
I
want
gotta
to rub
clean up
the
the little
salt in
things
that.
now.
It was just the breaks, man.
I mean, did you
Yeah,
have fun
that's it.
today? Did you have fun? Was it a
that
fun
is
one?
I'm surprised that I kept
the
it,
most
as
fun
good as
stage
I
we've
did
done
throughout
so
the whole
far.
thing,
The
because,
car combo, that was
usually
like
asphalt
so
stages where I
good,
just hit
so good.
cliffs all the
Yeah.
It's the quickest
Yeah,
I've
I'm having
felt.
the
I
same
think if I
problem.
didn't
I
have
just
the
get too
silly
confident
issue
and
at the
then
start, I would
try to
have been
push a little bit
strong.
harder. Like in the
But
dirt, I'm always
genuinely, that was
neutral.
the most fun car stage
the-
combo,
the
location
leaderboard.
combo
It won't let me
we've had so
continue.
far, by far.
Just press A a couple times.
I was smiling by the end of it.
Absolutely loads.
Yeah,
It's
I
fun.
mean, we've seen that from all of our creators, just
Let's see.
big grins on faces. I mean, Patterson has had some absolutely dreadful times
Ah,
with what he had to carry a puncture through like a stage and a half, and
Yeah.
he was just going for spins after spins after spins, like on purpose, controlling them. And we saw his barrel roll earlier on. It's great to see all of our creators, not necessarily competing at the top, but just having fun with this platform.
Yeah. No, that's why before he pulled me in here, I was like, I just love that it's competitive, but when it's not competitive as well, it's like I can go for it and I'll do well, and if I don't, I'm just having fun anyway, and it's just brilliant. It's the perfect mix because as I'm gonna butcher his name, so I'm not gonna say it, but as one of the chaps said, it's like we're all speed running, and it's just so good. It's so much fun. I enjoy it so much, dude. That one I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the uniqueness of rally, isn't it? It's just the driver versus the stage and the car, and there's no external elements.
Yeah.
You just have to make the best of it. And no matter whether you do, as you said, no matter whether you have a good stage time or bad stage time, you still have the enjoyment that isn't necessarily dependent on other people like other
Exactly.
racing series are.
No, exactly that. There was, I will say, right, there was one moment where I was like, I entered, like that sports focus mode, and I was hitting everything, and it was perfect. And I was like, this is what it must feel like to be Issa. This is sick. And then I made a mistake and I slammed it into a wall, and I was like, sick. Never mind.
Don't you worry, that happens to everybody, I think. No matter what their skill or talent or luck is, at some point it all runs out.
Well, mine runs out about 5 minutes into each stage.
One way of putting it.
Where you're going, you don't need luck. So I think everyone has completed their stages. Only Vic just coming over the line there. But yeah, sorry about my camera. I have no idea what's going on with it. Never buy a Logitech camera. Do not buy a Logitech G29 though, top wheel. Yeah. As I go off on a complete whim, anything to close that off, Dirk, to close off your day?
I will say that doing these rallies, I have improved significantly from what we were doing the first week, man. Like the levels of going up, but it's so much fun, and it's been a pleasure learning from Issa and Ambient, Mike, Bunju, like the guys that are in the background giving us tips. It's like all coming together, and it's really just cool to be able to drive and just keep getting better every single week. That's all I can say. So the guys that are in the background, genuinely doing this and giving us advice, really just thank you, because it does. I look anyway. So thank you for that.
I
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
I can speak for everybody that helps allegedly people in the background. The main focus of our efforts is that everybody enjoys it. So I think that looking at everybody's faces at the end of this rally, a job well done from everybody.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you, mate. It's been so. I'm so glad we started. I really am.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, we'll be back for another season pretty soon. Just producer Rob, just finally rubbing in the salt, rubbing in the salt just one more time, and showing you that he finished 122nd and you finished 124th.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, Dirk, thank you very much. Better luck next time.
Cheers, mate.
I tell you what, we'll get Adam Sanderson in because he actually sneaked into the call a little bit a while ago. Adam, how are you doing? How did you find that today? Your first WRC event. Did you get to the end? Because it looked pretty smoky at times for
Oh,
during those
mate,
final
my
four
car was
stages.
completely on fire. It
Coolant
was good.
is my advice.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to repair it as best I could, but unfortunately, I was unable to within the allotted time. But it was good fun. It was good fun. I learned a lot. Like in between the stages, I was saying, guys, can I repair this? Can I do this? And they were like, nope. Oh, sick. Thanks. But honestly, there was just one hairpin that caught me out every single time. It the the engineer was like, "Oh yeah, crest, hairpin right," and I was like, "Okay, cool." Went over the crest. Now I've got time to go brake, get around the hairpin, but the hairpin was just right there. So I was like, "Yep, I'm off."
Yeah,
Every
I
time.
don't think
Tarmac
you
rallies
do.
are like that. Yeah.
No,
There's no
no.
margin of error, see. With the gravel rally, you've got enough grip on the outside. With tarmac, as soon as you're off the stage, that's it.
Yeah,
It's game over.
yeah. No, it was good fun though. I learned a lot, and next week I'm coming back for the win.
Nice, nice. Glad to hear that.
Trophies or trees? I think there's less trees in Greece, if I'm not wrong. So
You'd be
Only
surprised.
trophies.
there's got to be more trophies. Yeah. So I mean, was this your first experience of WRC? Have you done a little bit of WRC before?
No, this was literally my first thing. I streamed
Well,
yesterday, and it was this old Lancia that I was using literally just for one stage, not the whole
right.
8 whatever this is.
Yeah.
But like I spent half the stream trying to get my wheel to work with the force feedback. I got it working eventually, obviously, but yeah, no, this is my first true WRC experience. It was something. It was something.
That's
Um.
incredible then. For a first performance, may I just say that was incredible
Oh,
in terms of
thank
driving
you.
and stuff.
I
Like
appreciate it.
I I honestly thought that you had done multiple rally events. Like
Nah,
okay, there were mistakes, but everybody makes
loads.
mistakes. But when you were driving and
Mm.
you were actually on it, it looked incredibly just well thought out and a solid drive.
I
Honestly.
appreciate you. Stop it. You're making me blush. I appreciate you. Thank you. I mean, back when me and my brother used to go on family holidays, we always used to find like the old arcade games where it was just the drifter. I can't remember what it was. We always went to the drifting ones. We didn't go to like the racing ones because they were never like close enough to real life. There was this one drifting one where we used to go on holiday, and we thought it was so realistic, but at the time we was like 10 and we'd never driven a car in our lives. But we used to like idolize those games. So I'm hoping that transferred into this. And yeah, some of those hairpins, I must say, a bit of handbrake, oof, felt good. I hope it got some style points at least.
Most certainly. Some barbecue points as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Sweet Baby Ray's will go very well with that Fiesta
Yeah.
at the end of it all. Yeah,
Oh
really
yeah.
appreciate you joining the Combox as well, and yeah, we'll hope to see you again at future WRC events. I think finally, I'll just give a big shout out to everyone who's raided, especially Onovic, who's just come in with a big raid. Thank you very much for that one, and we'll get Aerotech in to the booth so we can talk through his stage. That wasn't too far away from Punju. I think you were 10 seconds behind on that power stage. You could be in for some good points here in the power stage alone. And I think you've maybe finished second so far of the creators, maybe third. I'm not quite sure where you were finished in the end, but I mean that was pretty decent today, Aerotech, I would say.
Yeah. The best part about doing these is just seeing progression and seeing myself slowly and slowly get better and better. Even in the debrief room, like when I started, Punju was like 10 or 20 seconds, 20 or 30 seconds faster every stage. So I told him what my stage time was at the end there. He's like, "You're getting good at this." I was like, I guess. So I think obviously we're gonna get bopped by Izza when he feels like it's worth his time to come and participate here. But just to be that close to Punju, who I would say is pretty comparable as a dude who's got tons of sim experience, who isn't on this title all the time, but is still super competent. So he's been my yardstick since that first one. So to even be in the same ballpark now is like a super good sign of improvement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
solid. That's all I can say. The driving was impressive to watch, and everybody has impressed me today, to be honest. But just the amount of commitment that you carried through the corners sometimes, and just I could see you using those little drifting techniques from time to time, and it seemed to work really, really well for you. So yeah, impressive, very impressive. For
Yeah,
slow
especially
points,
on the
if
soft
nothing else.
tire, you can flick it into a corner a little bit more. And again, I've said it a couple times. The biggest thing that carries over is left foot braking and moving the car around, while being on power with the brake, even if it's like trying to move the car a little bit inward, outward, whatever. It does something different when you're not sideways. But yeah, that is especially I'm stoked for next week. Really stoked for next week. We have rear wheel drive, and I'm hoping that's the catalyst to get me up the leaderboard a little bit more. But yeah, like everybody said here, I'm stoked to just be in the conversation now. That's awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it's fantastic to have you again. And I was remarking back to when the first time I was commentating on you, and I was also commentating through a speedy installation as well. So it's been nice to be able to talk you through in sequence with all the other cars at
Isn't
the
it
same
awesome
time.
when the game works?
Yeah.
That's incredible. Imagine checking to see if you had the patch installed 10 minutes before the event starts. That would be crazy. Wow.
I think it was a testament to your internet service provider as well. They
I'm
were,
sure.
you know, they came straight in and they helped you out. But yeah, fantastic to have you as always, Aero, and we hope to see you again in future events. Yeah, fantastic having you, and great to see that improvement too. But yeah, I think that is going to wrap up our broadcast. Do you have any final notes from the commentary I'm using before we go over and watch you race on your own channel?
I think, yeah, a few comments that I'd have would just be it was wonderful and interesting to see everybody drive the same car. Okay, it's maybe not the most flamboyant car where you can just chuck it into the corners or anything, but um, it's really, really interesting to see the difference in driving styles. You can if you go and watch back some of the footage, you can see how different the driving lines are, how different the steering inputs are, and the positioning and braking that the drivers are using. And it was very impressive to see people use their circuit racing knowledge to extract the most performance out of the car, even when they're not comfortable with a stage rallying or pace notes or not driving a circuit in general.
John, you're always so optimistic at pulling stuff out, and yeah, absolutely fantastic to see all of our creators just having fun today. I think
Oh,
that's the
certainly.
overriding thing for me. Just everyone
Yeah.
feels like they're having fun. I really appreciate everyone in chat, all the comments we've had, and the activity, and the people giving nice messages. Honestly, this event isn't anything without the community that's behind it, and it's great to see everyone's involvement. Over 1,400 people in the club, and more people embracing this platform and the creator series. It's really, really fantastic. So a big thank you from me. Before we do go over to your channel, do you want to give a quick club plug to your socials, John?
Oh, everything is amusing. I'm the same everywhere. You'll manage to find me by looking at my ugly mug on the social medias. I'm sure you'll find it.
Yeah, I'm at Gareth Allen TV on all of the social media gubbins as well. I'm mainly on Twitter, but it's not even known as that anymore, and it is pretty rubbish. But if you are also on that terrible platform, come and join me over there and drop me a follow. I'd really appreciate that. But that's it. Thank you very much for Punchy for the raid, raiding the most perfect time where we plug our own socials. That's the best time to stay. And if you do stay around, everyone, we will be watching Eyes Amusing absolutely destroy Punju's time.
That's optimistic. Oh, there we go. Commentator's curse.
I thought I'd get one final in before the end. of
We've
the stream.
been doing it to everybody else. May as well do it to me as well. There you go. I do a pretty good job of it myself, to be fair.
Yeah, and as always, a big shout out to our producer in the background. He does a fantastic job, as well as our runner as well. He's not been able to do it all tonight for one reason or another, but big shout out to Carbon Shadow. He does a great job on that too. But thank you very much for everyone tuning in. We have 2 rounds left. Greece and Estonia. They're going to be 2 flying tracks to come to. We'll be here next Monday and the Monday after to conclude this wonderful series. Thank you, everyone, for so much for tuning in, and we will see you, well, either on Saturday for the F1 or next week for the WRC on Monday. Ta-ra.